Hey guys and welcome back to my channel. This is part 3 of What If Naruto Got a Harem in Harry Potter. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also go and support the author, link in description. When the light died down, everyone saw that there was now two Naruto, and they could tell that it wasn't a shadow clone, as one of the Naruto had blue skin and glowing red eyes while the other one had white skin and glowing green eyes. Then the one with red eyes burped and the green-eyed Naruto said, "Pardon you, Wyan." "Oh, bite me Yang nor let's get this over with as I want to do." Yin Naruto replied before saying, "Now Aragog Mosag, the two of us are basically the same person but just the other side of the coin." Yang Naruto just sighed before saying, "Now Mr. Aragog and Miss Mosag, what my dark means to say is that the two of us represent the two sides that is of the same person and at the same time everyone. Now I am the Yang Naruto or Light Naruto, which means that I am polite, kind, and a pacifist. However, should the situation calls for it, I will defend those that I care about. And I am Yin Naruto or Dark Naruto, which means that I am rude, mean, and a hothead that will get into fights for the slightest thing, but I would never hurt the ones that I care about, and I will kill anyone that shows they mean them harm," Yin Naruto said. Aragog and Mosag was thinking about what the two Narutos was saying. The female spider said, "Naruto, I think I get what you are saying. While we are labeled as dark creatures, that doesn't really mean that we are dark." "Well, the female is a brain," Yang Naruto said. "Be nice, Yang. Anyway, I think we have shown then enough," Yin Naruto said to his dark counterpart before the two fused together. Then he turned to the two Acromantula and said, "And you would be right, Mosag. I believe at one point that all creatures didn't have a label of light or dark until some stuck-up asshole put them on after some dumbass used them for bad things." "I see. Thank you, Naruto, for giving us a chance," Aragog said. "Think nothing of it," Naruto said. "Naruto, one more thing before you go. While you were split in your yin and yang, I take it when you said that the two of you represent the two sides that is of the same person and at the same time everyone, I take it that everyone has a yin and yang side in them," Aragog said. "A lot of people would disagree, but yes, it's true, everyone does have a yin and yang side. So see you lot at some time as we have breakfast waiting for us, as I wanted to do this before Dumbledore came back," Naruto said. "Understandable," Aragog said. Then the group left. While they were walking back to the castle, Susan asked, "Naruto, now that you explained about the yin and yang, I finally get the question that you asked me, differences between light magic and dark magic. So, what is it then?" Naruto asked. "There is no difference between the two but how the spell is used, and that includes the unforgivable curses," Susan replied. Naruto nodded and said, "That's correct." Then the group came out of the forest. Minerva said, "You lot go on ahead, I need to speak to Naruto in private." "Okay, Professor," everyone said before heading back to the castle. When Naruto's friends and fiancés was out of sight, Naruto turned to his grandmother and asked, "So what do you want to talk about, Ba-chan?" "It's about the couple suit that I have been trying to get you for most of the year. I have finally got it approved, but as it is the end of the year, you will move into it at the start of next year, and I will try and get permission for Miss Granger, Miss Greengrass, and now Miss Davis to move in there with you." "Sweet, well, I got to be off, things to do and places to be," Naruto said as the rabbit talisman showed in his eyes. Then he ran off. Later in the day, Naruto was in the headmaster's office and Dumbledore had asked, "So Naruto, what happened down in the Chamber of Secrets?" "Well, headmaster, not much to tell. Met a leech that attended the school 50 years ago. After finding out what the anchor was, destroyed it." "I see. And what of the creature?" the headmaster asked. "Won't be a problem," Naruto replied. "Care to explain, Naruto?" Dumbledore asked. "Well, it won't be a threat to the school or those that attend it," Naruto replied. Before either of them could say anything, the door opened up. Lucius walked in, and before Lucius could say anything, Naruto saw a familiar house elf and said, "Hey Dobby, I see I get to see which house you serve, and somehow, I am not surprised at a family that has a stick up their ass. I will deal with you later." Lucius snarled at Dobby. Then he walks up to the desk to faces Naruto and said, "Out of the way, Potter and boy, watch your tongue." Then to the headmaster said, "So it is true you have returned, so what happened?" "Well, Lucius, when the governors of the school found out that it was the daughter of Arthur Weasley who was taken into the chamber, they saw fit to reinstate me," Dumbledore replied. "You have got to be kidding," Lucius said. Although Lucius cared to explain why several of them were under the impression that you were going to cures their family if they didn't vote to have me removed in the first place, Dumbledore said. "What are saying?" Lucius asked. "Beg your pardon?" Dumbledore asked. "How dare you say what you did? My sole concern has always been to this school and always will be, and that extends to the student that attend the school," Lucius said, then asked, "So I take that who was behind the attacks has been identified and stopped?" Dumbledore nodded and said, "Yes, the culprit identified and stopped." "And so, who was behind the attack?" Lucius asked. Dumbledore took a few seconds before replying. "It was Voldemort, though this time he worked though someone else by using this as a medium," and holds up the diary. Upon seeing the diary, the older Malfoy seemed nervous and said, "I see. Dabi was trying to get Naruto's attention to inform him of something that Naruto had a hunch about concerning the diary while Dumbledore was saying. And fortunately we can thank young Mr. Potter here for finding it, and now one can only hopes there isn't any more of Lord Voldemort thing that he had while he was here around and can get into the hands of the innocent, and should that happen then the ones that is responsible would be quite severe. There was a twitch on Lucius's face, then he said, then let's hope that Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day. No need to worry if there is trouble, I will always be there and help out no matter was it is from save someone that had been possessed to helping a convict find justice for something he didn't do, Naruto said with determination in his voice, causing Dumbledore's eyes to go wide. Dumbledore composed himself then said, as you Lucius, Naruto will be there anyway, he can. Yes, I can see that, and that is all for now, Lucius said then as he turns to leave, he said, come Dobby, we are done here, then he kicks the house elf down the stairs causing the elf to grumble. As Naruto watched the scene before him, he thought with W smirk, well he seems like an asshole, and I know I see why Dobby is the way he is, so let's teach him a lesson. Then he turns to Dumbledore and said, is that all you need sir, as I have to get packed? Ah yes, that is all, you can go, Dumbledore said. That's good, before I mind if I take the dairy, Naruto said. Mind if I ask why? Dumbledore asked. Well, I thought it would be a cool souvenir, Naruto lied thought his teeth. I see, well then you can, the headmaster said as he handed the dairy over to Naruto. As Naruto takes the dairy he said, thanks, then he heads out of the office. In the hallway just out the headmaster's office, Naruto caught up to Lucius and said, Mr. Malfoy, wait up as I have something of yours, then hands him the dairy. Are you sure this is mine? Lucius said. Oh, I am sure, you see I have a few skills that I am proud of, and one of them is having sharp eyes. While I didn't say anything at first, I saw you slip this into Ginny Cauldron while we was at the frauds book signing, and while you was in the office just now I saw you twitch upon see the dairy, Naruto said. Is that right? Lucius said as he hands Dobby the dairy. Them, he gets up into Naruto's face and said, why don't you prove it then? Because I don't have to, as I know for a fact that karma always come and bites us in the ass for the actions we take, Naruto said. Lucius scoffs then says, is that so? Then to Dobby said, come Dobby, then he walks out the hallway. Oh, and another thing before you go Lucius, Naruto said. Lucius turns to face Naruto once again and asks, what is it now? Well, I knew a few of your secrets, like you and the Lestrange using a age manipulation spell, Naruto said, causing Lucius to go wide-eyed. Then before Naruto continued, then there is the mark in on your arm, causing Lucius to rub it. So if you don't want those two things to get out, then you can go and tell you pussy squad to leave me and my friends alone, and if there is one thing you should never do, and that is piss of a fox, as you never know as we will do to get even. Well, thank you for the warning, Mr. Potter. Dobby, then he turns again. Naruto then whispers to Dobby. Dobby opens the dairy. Dobby does as Naruto said, and to his surprise there was a sock. Then said, Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is now free. What are you on about? I never. Lucius said. Then he realized what Naruto said to him, and this was a warning that he means business. He said, you have lost me, my servant. Naruto shrugged and said, I don't know what you are on about, as I still have both socks on. Then he shows him that he was still wearing both sock. Then you must have transfigured something into a sock, Lucius said. What in the headmaster's office? I know he is a kind man, but I don't think he would let me do something like that, Naruto replied. Lucius growls. Then she said, fine, you win this round, but the next time you mess with me there will be consequences. Oh, and how will you know if it was me or not, as you don't have proved that I put the sock in the dairy, Naruto said. Knowing Naruto has a point, Lucius said, don't get smart with me boy, maybe a lesson should do you wonders. Then he raises his wand to cast a spell. Dobby steps in front of Naruto and said, you shall not harm Naruto Potter. Then he sends Lucius flying. Lucius gets up and said, you are just like your parents Potter, meddlesome, so mark my words, the day will come where you will meet the same sticky end. Then he leaves. Once Lucius was gone, Naruto did a hand sign the said Kai, then one of his socks disappeared. Then he looks down at Dobby and said, I bet doing that to Lucius felt satisfying. Dobby nodded and said, it did. Then he turns to face Naruto and said, Naruto Potter freed Dobby, how can Dobby ever replay him? Before Naruto could think of something, he heard his mother say, get him to be your house elf, Naruto. Huh? Naruto thought back. Oh, right, you don't know house elves are like the symbionts from Venom, they need a host to survive, Lily said. Oh, so house elves will die if they don't have a witch or wizard to serve, Naruto thought back. Yes, they will, and it's never more than a week, Lily replied. Naruto turns to Dobby and, well Dobby, I can think of two things. And what are these two things? Dobby said. Well, the first is don't try and save me again, and the other is how would you like to be my house elf, Naruto said. Do you really mean it? You want Dobby as your elf? Dobby asked. Well, that is your decision, Dobby, I will never force you to be with me if you didn't want to, Naruto said. Dabi will become Naruto Potter's house elf, Dabi said. That's great, now then we need to get you some clothes, Naruto said. What, but Naruto Potter just said he wanted Dabi to be his house elf, Dabi said in a panic. I probably should have worded that a bit better, Naruto thought, then said. Dabi, calm down, I do mean by what I said, and if you give me a moment I will explain. Okay, Dabi will let Naruto Potter be explaining, Dabi said. Good, now while it is true that I will be giving you clothes, but it's for another reason. I want you to look like you are my house elf, and for that you need something that you will need something that is called a uniform, Naruto said. Dabi gets it now. Naruto Potter wants to give Dabi clothes, but not as a way of letting him go, but so that proves who Dabi works for, Dabi said. You could say that, Naruto said. Then he heads outside and finds a big enough rock, then he transfigures into an elf size of the Anbu minus the body armor. Then he turns to Dabi and said, now Dabi, are you ready for my first order? And it will not be an easy one, but it is really important. Dabi, as if Naruto Potter is trusting Dabi for something like this, Dabi said. Naruto smiled and said, thanks Dabi, this means a lot to me, as I want you try and find my mother's body. Now Dabi sees why Master Naruto Potter said that it will not be an easy order. BTU Dabi will not fail Master Naruto Potter, Dabi said. Then he disappears. Well, now I have someone looking for Ka-chan's body. Time to get the homework done, Naruto said, but he had taken a few steps before he realized what he had said. Then said, man, Iruka would either think what I just said was a genjutsu, have a heart attack, or wonder if I am feeling okay, then go off and find Hermione and thank her for causing a miracle, as she has shown to be a good influence on me. Then he walks up and gets his summer homework. A few days later on the Great Hall, Professor McGonagall tapped her gauntlet and said, can I have your attention please? Professor Dumbledore would like to have a few words. Professor Dumbledore stood up and said, before we begin with the feast, let's have a round of applause for Professor Sprout and Madame Pomfrey, who worked together to make the mandrake just that has been administered to those who had been petrified. Then the students started to clap. When the clapping had stopped, the headmaster said, also as a treat for what had happened throughout the year, all exams have been cancelled. This caused all but Hermione to cheer. Then the cheering was calming down, the doors opened, and Hagrid came in and he stopped by Naruto and his Gryffindor friends. Then the half-giant said, you didn't think you would get rid of me that easily, did you? And also I would like to thank you for proving my innocence. And Madame Bones even said that I can use a wand, or in my case my umbrella, and that the ministry will pay for the qualification I need if for a career I might choose. I am glad I could help, and this place wouldn't be the same without you here, Hagrid. And do you have something in mind? Hagrid nodded and said, that I do, and I will not be telling, as I want it as a surprise for the next time you see me. I must be a good influence or a bad one if you are not telling, Naruto said. You could say that, Hagrid said with a little laugh. Naruto hugs the gentle giant and says, well, either way it's great you're back. When Naruto let the half-giant go, he went to the faculty table. Then the door opened and the minister and a lady wearing pink came in. The minister said, sorry for coming here this late, BTU. We have heard that there is a Nekomata attending here, and as you know all creatures can't have wands. Before Ron was the first one to react by standing up and pointed to Hermione and said, there she is next to Naruto Potter. Then when the duo headed over to Hermione and the girl was getting nervous and the minister said, girl please hand over your wand. Naruto then stood up while holding a folder and said, actually minister, she will do no such thing because of what I have here, which proves that an all-human-like being that don't weird wild magic can have wand and attended school just as long as there are measures in place to keep the students safe, like getting werewolves to secure please on the night of full moons, and as this is ICW law you can't change it. Then he hands over the folder, shocking everyone except for two in the hall. The two that wasn't shocked had a scroll on their faces. Cornelius takes the folder and looks thought it, then he gains a scroll, then said, I see, well I was unaware of things, so I thank you for letting us know of this. Then he turned to the lady in pink and said, come Dolores, there is nothing else for us to be here. Then they felt. When both people from the ministry was gone, Hermione turned to Naruto and said, is this that what you had planned? You had the Shadowcon, see if I can stay. Naruto nodded and said, right, I would do anything to protect the ones that I care about. At the last day of the term, Naruto and group was at the train and the ninja turned to Hagrid and said, you better get what you said you want, I want to know what it is. Hagrid looks down at Naruto and said, why not have a con find out then? Now where is the fun in that? Naruto replied. Then after a few buys the group got into the train. Then after 5 minutes the train began to move and was heading to London. As Naruto's summer drawn to a close, he had a decent one as Petunia was taking better care of him and finally saw that her son wasn't the angel due to Naruto good nature after seeing Dudley doing something that pissed him off, and so she had to do something she thought she wouldn't do, but the downside was Vernon and Dudley still abusing Naruto. The day that Naruto was dreading had finally come, the day that Vernon's sister Marge came to visit. As Vernon had come thought the door after Marge came barging though and handed Naruto her umbrella, turned to Naruto and said, Now you listen here boy while my sister there better be no funny business and you better behave and I might sign that permission slip to let you go to some town or was it a village? Oh, I will but as long as she does, Naruto replied while glaring at Marge who was placing her bags on the floor. As Marge looks up to her brother, she sees Naruto and said, "You're still here I take it." Naruto glares harder and said, "Well you see me don't you that should be enough proof." "Don't you dare speak to me in that," Marge said. "What way?" Naruto asked. "That ungrateful tone that you have especially after my brother took you in after all if it was up to me, you would have been placed in an orphanage the first change I got if he had been placed on my doorstep," Marge said then she looks around and asked, "So where is my nephew Pooh?" "And you think it a mystery why you are single you fat bitch," Naruto thought. "Well, I had done something that I should have done a long time ago," Petunia said. "Well, what are you waiting for boy take Marge's suitcases upstairs," Vernon said to Naruto and as Naruto took Pup Marge's thing, he then faces Petunia and said, "And I still don't see why you had to do it pet." Marge was looking between Vernon and Petunia then asked, "What did you do Petunia?" "I had to discipline him because I found out that he was bullying kids," Petunia replied. "I don't believe it there is no way Dutters would do something like that," Marge said. "I didn't either until there was a bunch of mothers outside my door moaning that my son had picked on their child and stole their stuff like phones and money and let not forget that he has assaulted a few girls thank God it was anything worse than a few gropes and I am thankful to be told now before it got too far," Petunia said. "And you believed a bunch of random people over you own son?" Marge asked. "Well yes after all there was 10 mothers there now if it was only 1 or 2 then no but with 10 what do you expect me to do?" Petunia said. "And I have told you that they are lying set up by him," Dudley said as he came in and pointed at Naruto who had entered. "How can you say that when I have no idea what you are talking about as I have always been with Aunt Petunia?" Naruto said with a slight smirk as he had sent a clone to do it for him. "Well, he does have a point there Dudley as he is always doing something around the house so he would never have the time to do something like that," Petunia said. "Well enough of this conversation," Vernon said then he turned to Naruto and said, "You better start on dinner boy and remember no funny stuff." Later that evening while everyone was finishing their dinner Naruto was clearing up the plates when Marge snapped her fingers and said, "Hey boy over here," before turning back to Vernon who had offered her some brandy then said, "Well put a bit more in." And when the glass had enough in she said, "That's a boy." Then she looked down to her dog and said, "Do you want to try a bit of brandy?" And when she looked up and saw Naruto with a raised eyebrow asks, "And what's with that look for?" Naruto smirked and said, "Wouldn't you like to know?" Marge gained a sneer then she turned to Vernon and asked, "Where was the school again the one that you sent the boy to?" "It called St. Brutus it's a great institution for helpless cases," Vernon replied. Marge looks at Naruto and asked boy let me ask this question do they use the cane there? Naruto looks at Vernon with a raised eyebrow who gave him a nod and a look that said do it or else then came Naruto's reply, "Oh I have no idea as I don't go there." Then she, "I don't believe that for 1 minute so when the new semester starts, I will phone St. Brutus and tell them to increase their punishment on you boy as you have yet to show respect," Marge said. "Oh, don't worry I do show respect but only to those who needs it," Naruto replied. Marge turns to Vernon who was red with rage then she bends closer to Ripper and whispers, "Go up to the boy's room and get the birds." And as the dog left the room Marge turned Vernon and said, "Now Vernon, you mustn't blame yourself on how the boy turned out after all it has to do with blood." "It does?" Vernon asked. "Of cause after all with good blood they turn out good and with bad they turn out bad," Marge said then turned to Petunia and asked, "What did the father do again?" "Unfortunately, I don't know seeing as I hadn't seen Lily since she gave me the key to this house on my and Vernon's wedding day." "Unfortunate BTU he was probably unemployed and a drunk," Marge said. "That's a lie," Naruto said getting pissed off. "Care to repeat that?" Marge asked. "Oh, don't worry I will my 2 san wasn't a drunk," Naruto said as the lights flickered, and Marge's glass smashed causing Petunia to become worried knowing what might happen if a wizard or get too emotional. "No need to worry or fuss Petunia I have a firm grip and I sometimes use a more grip than I should," Marge said. "I think you should go to bed boy," Vernon said hash. Marge turned to Vernon and said, "Be quiet Vernon," then turned back to Naruto then said, "You clean it up." "Oh, do it yourself after you need the exercise seeing as I am going to go in the garden and try and clam down before I do or say something I might regret," Naruto replied then heads to the garden. "Typical lazy boy doing whatever you want to get out of doing good honest work," Marge said then she turned to Vernon and said, "You know actually it has nothing to do with the father it actually to do with the mother you will see it in dogs all the time if there is something wrong with the bitch then there is going to be something wrong with her pups. And I take the as why you don't have kids then," Naruto said finally losing it and making several things simultaneously explode in the process. Marge froze then said, "What did you just say?" You heard me, or do you want me to say it again? Naruto said with his eyes having a red tint to them. Before Marge could say anything, there was a yelp followed by thumping noise as if something fell down the stairs. Then Ripper came bolting in with cinched fur and marks on his body, followed but Zazu and Hedwig. Then Ripper went out the door into the garden and the two bird followed. Everyone was looking out the door. Naruto started to laugh. Then Marge said, "What was your two birds doing to my Rippy Poo?" "Well, if I had to guess, they was attacking him because they felt threatened by him." Naruto shrugged, then thought, "You know what, I think it would be better if I went to Leaky Cauldron, then that way I don't have to put up with the drama that is to come." Then he went into the hallway to go upstairs to pack his school things. When Naruto came down with his school stuff, he was met with a pissed Marge with Vernon behind her, and Marge said, "I demand retribution." Naruto looked at Marge, then to Vernon, then back to Marge, then said, "Why should I?" "Because thanks to those bloody birds of yours I have to retire poor Ripper and he can't sire any more pups," Marge said. Naruto smiled, then said, "Good, then the Zazu and Hedwig did the world a favor by doing what they did." Then he left. Naruto walked down the street to a park, then sat down, and a minute later saw Petunia coming down the street and said, "Mind if I come with you? I don't think I stand Marge after what she said about Lily." Naruto shrugged and said, "Nah, I don't mind, as I was just thinking on how to get to London." As both Naruto and Petunia were thinking of how to get to London, the playground behind them started to move as there was children, but no one was there. Petunia was scared, turned to Naruto and asked, "Naruto, what's going on?" "I have no idea," Naruto replied. Then there rustling from over the road, and Naruto was by his aunt in a protective manner, then said, "But I have feeling we are about to find out." Then a large black dog came out and it looked menacing, and Naruto thought after looking at it, "Wait, isn't that OG Sari?" Sirius started to bark, causing Naruto to jump back, and Naruto accident flared his magic. Then an old-style triple-decker bus slowed down to a stop and the conductor said, "Welcome to the Nightbud, the emergency transport for the witch and or wizard. The name is Stan Shunpike, and I will be your conductor this evening." "Wow, I didn't know about the night bus," Naruto said. "And your world gets better and better with I could be a part of that world," Petunia said. Naruto looks at Petunia and said, "And who says you're not?" "So, what are you doing?" Stan said. "Well, Stan, both me and my Oba was surprised about the night bus," Naruto said. Then he remembered and then said, "Now give me a second." Then he looked at where the dog was and found it gone. Stan looks at where Naruto was as then asked, "Now what are you looking at?" "I was looking to see if the reason I accidentally flared my magic, but it looks like it's gone now," Naruto replied. Then he went over to get his suitcase. Just before Naruto was about to pick his luggage when Stan said, "No, I'll get it, you and the miss get in." Naruto looks at Stan and said as Petunia was getting on, "Are you sure it could be heavy, and you don't look like you can lift it?" "Yeah, I am sure," Stan said as he bent his knees to pick the case up. "Well, suit yourself," Naruto said with a shrug, and get on the bus to see that it had beds and not chairs. And Petunia with a look of wonder. Then he said as Stan was struggling to get the teen's luggage on, "Well, now that is a face of wonder, and I still make that face once in a while." Then they headed to the front of the bus and sat down on the beds. Petunia gave a sad sigh and said, "Yes, and I know that I can have seen a lot more if I was envious of Lily growing up." Stan then asked, "So are you two going this fine night?" "I don't know, seeing as I am a muggle, so I will leave the destinations to my nephew here," Petunia replied as she points to Naruto. Not missing a beat, Naruto then said, "We are going to a place in London called the Leaky Cauldron," and hands Stan some money. Stan nods and said as he rings the tickets up, "Well, you heard him, now take her away." Then the shrunken head then said, "Yeah, any time to take the show on the road, cause the driver to jump." Then he takes a bit out of a sandwich, then pulls the hand brake while the head said, "It going to be a bumpy ride." Then it laughs as the bus drives at mad speed, making all the bed to go to the back of the bus. When the beds came forward, Stan said, What was your names again?" "We never said, but I am Petunia Dursley, and this is my nephew," Petunia said, but was interrupted by Naruto. Naruto knew that Petunia was about to reveal who he was, so he said, "Name Menma Uzumaki, nice to meet you." No offense, but you two don't have any similarities," Stan said as he picks up a newspaper. "Oh, it's no problem, seeing as my mother was adopted by her family," Naruto replied, then looks at Petunia and said, "We'll explain later." As they were heading to London, Petunia was looking out the windows and asked, Stan, what about the Muggles?" "Muggles, what about them?" Stan asked. "Well, can't they see the bus?" Stan said. Stan was about to say something when Naruto said, "Now that don't they see what they want to see?" "What do you mean?" Petunia asked. "It's not just with Muggles, everyone does it, they see what they want to see. I mean, take you for instance, until last year you hated magic because of Snape as well as being envious, so you didn't see it, but I am sure since then you have been noticing magical things everywhere you go," Naruto said. Petunia took a moment and think things about her noticing the thing from before and after she let go of her hatred and jealousy. "You are right, I have noticed the things you speak of." Naruto nodded and said, correct, and that was you knowing that magic exists, but what would happen if you didn't know it existed? Realizing where Naruto was going, Petunia said, I wouldn't see the magical things. As the bus goes down a road, the head then said, Hey Ernie, there's a little old lady at 12 o'clock. Then just before the but hit the lady, it stopped dead, which almost sent Petunia into the driver's window if Naruto didn't stop her. Then the moment the lady was out the way, the bus took off. Petunia, who was trying to get used to the movement of the bus, sees Stan reading the newspaper and see the headline about someone escaping prison, then asked, Stan, do you mind telling me who that man is on the front? Stan looks at the front before turning it around, then said, Well, seeing as you're a muggle, I don't think you would know who he is, but that man is Sirius Black. He is a murderer and got himself locked up in Azkaban for it, catching Naruto's attention. What is Azkaban? Petunia asked. Is the prison that we put our criminals that are the worst of the worst, and until now it was thought to be inescapable, Stan replied. So do they know how he escaped yet so they can prevent it from happening again? Petunia asked. No, they haven't, Stan replied. Also, he was a big supporter of you-know-who, Stan replied. And how would anyone know that? Naruto asked. But before anyone could reply, the head said, Hey Ernie, we have two double-decker right on top of us. Then the driver pulled a few levers, then the triple-decker slowed right down as if it was in slow motion and went in between the two double-deckers. Then the head said, Hey guys, I have to ask why the long faces. Then when the Seuss was out, the bus speed of again. After going down a few more road, they was at Leaky Cauldron, and the bus stopped but not before hitting a car and setting the alarm of. Then Stan said, Well, here we are, Leaky Cauldron. Then he took Naruto and Petunia the back, and Naruto grabbed his suitcase as the conductor said, I hope you enjoyed your journey on the night bus. Then when Naruto and Petunia was off, the bus took off. Before Petunia could ask what to do, there was a gruffy voice and said, Ah, Mr. Potter, I see you have arrived and you brought someone. Then both Petunia and Naruto turned to see an Igor-like person who spoke again. Will you please follow me? The minister would like a word with you. Then he walked over and took Naruto's luggage and then headed inside Leaky Cauldron with Naruto and Petunia following him. The man took Naruto and Petunia to meet the minister, and upon entering he saw Hedwig and Zazu was already there and said, Hedwig, Zazu, how did you two know I was coming here? Well, Mr. Potter, those two birds are quite smart as they showed up about 5 minutes ago, the hunchback man said. Then there was a cough and the trio turned to face minister, and Naruto said, So what do I owe the pleasure, as I doubt you will come here for every witch or wizard that decides to run from home. Well, Naruto, the minister started but stopped when Naruto held his hand up. Naruto lowered his hand and said, It's Mr. Potter, only friends and family can call me by my name, as well as those that has earned me respect, like Amelia Bones that is head of magical law enforcement. Well, Mr. Potter, as the Minister of Magic, it is my duty to inform you that we felt something amiss at that house that you reside in, and upon inspecting it we found that your aunt's dog as well as your room had magical burn marks, and upon digging deeper found it was done by your phoenix, Cornelius said. Yeah, I know, and if you think you will take Zazu from me then you have another thing coming, Naruto said. Oh, no need to worry about that, Mr. Potter. The investigation, we found out that it was out of self-defense, so we modified her memory seeing as she doesn't know of the magical world, Cornelius said. Well, that's good, so can we leave? I need to get 2 rooms, Naruto said. Oh, no need to worry about that, I have already sorted it out as well as took the liberty of getting your schoolbooks, Cornelius said, then with a serious look on his face said, Now you running away like that was very irresponsible of you, even more so with the state of things. Does this have anything to Sirius Black? Petunia asked. Cornelius turned to Petunia and said, You must be Petunia Dursley née Evans. That I am now, answer my question, Petunia said. Yes, it does have to do with him, Cornelius said. So, what does he have to do with my nephew? Petunia said. Nothing that is important, because all that matters, Mr. Potter, is here safe and sound, Cornelius said. Well, Minister, you should stop worrying about me as I am more than capable of defending myself, Naruto said. The minister scoffed then said, Really, you can take versus equals care of yourself, agent's a killer. Well, yeah, after all there is more to me than meets the eye, so some words of advice, Cornelius Fudge. Never judge a book by the cover, after all you never know what they might know, Naruto said with eyes crimson red. Cornelius paled a little, then BTU remained composed, then said, Well, now I best be off as I have things to do, so Tom here will show you to your rooms. Then the hunchback man left the room and Naruto and Petunia followed after grabbing Naruto's schoolbooks. Once in the room, Petunia put the book on a table and while getting ready for bed turned to Naruto and said, So what was that all about with the minister? Oh, nothing much, just a corrupt person acting concerned about something he has no right to, Naruto said as he gets into bed. I see, so it is to do with this Sirius Black character, right? Petunia asked. It does, Naruto replied. Petunia was beginning to get curious about something, so she asked, Hey Naruto, can I ask you something? Well, you just did, but go on ahead, Naruto replied, getting a chuckle from his aunt. What did you mean by there is more to you than meets the eye? Petunia asked. Naruto just sighed and said, well, I was going to tell you eventually after you started to make amends, so I will tell you tomorrow after I have done some business first. Okay, night Naruto, Petunia said as she gets into bed. The next morning Naruto was woken up by Petunia's yelling and he asked in a groggy tone, what's with all the yelling? Petunia gained a blush of embarrassment then said, well, I was curious about one of the furry books and so when I undid the buckle it started to attack. Well, that was mighty dumb of you, but I can understand, so where is the book now? Naruto asked. Petunia thinks for a moment before saying, I think it went under your bed. Naruto turns onto his front and looks under the bed and sees the book looking at him with its beady spider-like eyes. He then says, huh, that's cool. Then the book starts to attack, but before it could get to blonde, Naruto used the rooster talisman to stop it in its track and pulls it out. Then as he puts the buckle back on he says, well, Oba-chan, I can see why you screamed like you did. Then he gets ready for the day and once he was done he said, so you ready for the day? So, what business do you need to take care of? Petunia asked, and they both left the room. Well, last year I found out that someone had been taking my money. The two-san and Ka-chan left me, and let's just say that the bankers aren't happy whenever anyone takes money that ain't theirs without permission, so they are looking into it too, Naruto relied. Oh, I see. Then what do you have planned? Petunia asked. Naruto shrugs and says, nothing much apart from waiting for some of my friends and one of my fiancés to show up. I see, but remember what you said, Petunia said. Yeah, I remember I said that once I was done with my business with Gringotts I would show you around, and when I said I would do something I keep my word, for that is my ninja way, Naruto said as. And what does that mean? Petunia asked. I will explain later, Naruto said before noticing where they are, then said, well, looks like they are here, before went up to the stairs and entered the building. Upon entering Petunia got scared and Naruto asked, are you okay, Oba-chan? What are they? Petunia said. Knowing what she was asking, Naruto said, they are goblins, the best bankers there is you could ask for, but that can be ruthless at times, but if you're too scared to be in here then you can wait outside. I don't mind, after all I will be 10 minutes. Thank you, Naruto, but I'm not really scared, I'm more nervous, Petunia said before going outside. After a few minutes of waiting, Petunia was looking around but never going too far from the bank, bumped into someone and she said, I am sorry about that. So she turns to see how she bumped into and sees a man around her age, and he had an eccentric look, who looked slightly cross-eyed and had shoulder-length hair that was the texture of candy floss. The man said, that's a right, and I take it it's your first time in Diagon Alley. That's right, how did you know? Petunia asked. Simple, the way you or I have seen any first-timers do the same thing anyway. I have daughter about to start her second year at Hogwarts, so you have starting magic school, the man asked. I have a nephew about to start his third year, Petunia said. What, but you said that this is your first time here, the man asked. Well, what's your name? I am Petunia, Petunia asked. Oh, right, my name is Xenophilius Lovegood, but everyone calls me Zeno, Zeno said. Well, Zeno, I have known about magic because of my adopted little sister, but I grew to resent her, but 13 years ago I took in her son and took my resentment out in him and treated him like dirt. Then last year I started dreaming about my late sister and realized I didn't truly hate her, I was just jealous of her because she could do something that I couldn't, Petunia said. I see, well then, I am glad you have got over your hatred of magical beings, Zeno said. So am I, and now I have problem, Petunia said. Well, what seems to be the problem? Maybe I could help you out, Zeno said. But my nephew had always known who he was, but he never left, he just put up with the abuse, be verbal from me and physical from my husband and son, Petunia said. I see, well that does bring a conundrum, so my advice is ask him why he stayed despite knowing about his family, Zeno said. Well, I suppose I could, after all the worst he could do is tell me nothing, Petunia said. Then both he and Zeno fell into a pleasant conversation, all the while missing the knowing look the people were giving them as they walked by. When Naruto finally came out, he looked around and he sees her talking to Zeno and smiles at how she was smiling and walks over to them and says, hey Oba-chan, I'm back. Petunia jumps a little then says, what, you're done? But I just came out of the bank. Naruto laughed a little and then said, actually that was 15 minutes ago, but I see you enjoyed your company that much you forget the time. Then he gained a mischievous smirk then said, so when are you two going on a date? Petunia looks at Naruto with shock, then once it passed said, Naruto, how could you say that? What about Vernon? Oh please, when was the last time he even touched you, treated so you feel like a woman, let alone took you out on an actual date? Naruto said then as he saw Petunia open her mouth to say something, but he quickly said, now Oba-chan, there is no need for you to choose what you want to do now, but just think about it. Petunia gains a thoughtful look, then Zeno looked at Naruto then said, well, if it isn't Naruto Potter. Yeah, what can I do for you? Naruto said, giving Zeno a judging look. Nothing, Zeno said, then turns to Petunia and said, well, I must be of, but remember the advice. I will and thank you, Petunia said. Then Zeno left. Then she turned to Naruto and asked, "So you going to show me around?" And so Petunia tour of Diagon Alley started. After a few hours Naruto and Petunia was having lunch when Petunia said, "So what are you really?" "Before I tell you what I really am you have to know that I am still your nephew," Naruto said, and when Petunia nodded he started to tell her everything about him including what he is capable of. Then as he was finishing he said, "Oh, and before I forget there is something you should know. Those dreams you have been having about Ka-chan while I have been at yours." "Yeah, what about them?" Petunia asked. "Well, they went dreams. You have really been talking to your adopted sister while you were sleeping," Naruto said. Petunia was shocked when she heard what she did, then asked, "How is that possible?" "Because of me, you see. Then the asshole that came for me that night was about to kill Ka-chan. I used the sheep talisman, which is astro projection," Naruto replied. "And that is?" Petunia asked. "Basically, it removes the spirit from the body," Naruto explained, then asks, "So no doubt you have a few questions, so ask away." "I see. Okay, my first question is why?" Petunia asked. "Why what?" Naruto asked. "I know you always knew who was, so why did you stay?" Petunia asked. "Well, as you know, in my past life, I was a ninja, but what I didn't say was I was part of a clan known as the Uzumaki and they had a rule that must be followed, or risk being banished," Naruto said. "And what was this rule?" Petunia asked. "Family above fame, family above wealth, family above all," Naruto said. "I take it no matter what, family comes first," Petunia said. "That's right," Naruto said. "That's good, but that doesn't explain my question," Petunia said. "Oh, right, well I have two reasons for that. The first one is in my past life all I ever wanted was a family," Naruto replied in a sad tone as he remembered his childhood in his old world. Petunia hears the tone and asks, "I see, so what is the other reason?" "The other reason is, and no one knows this about, and I don't think it showed up on my test I did when I went to Gringotts for a full inheritance test, and that is I have always been an empath, and in my time at Hogwarts there is one I have come to know is that you can't hide your true feeling from magic," Naruto said. "What do you mean by that?" Petunia asked. "What I mean is that before I started at Hogwarts, when you was made at me, I wasn't anger I felt from you, it was sadness, guilt and regret, and so I thought my power wasn't working properly, and when I started at Hogwarts I looked up to see as I can correct it, but I couldn't, but in the process I discovered that my empath ability is so strong that I can read someone true emotions, the one that come from the heart," Naruto said. Petunia sighed and said, "Yeah, it's true, I never hated you, I just putting up a show, and I do regret doing what I did to you for 10 years. Naruto just smiles and says, "It's alright, it's all in the past, the only thing we can do is be there for each other like family." Petunia was shocked that her nephew was just forgiving her just like that and asks, "And you're just forgiving me just like that?" "Of course, after all, if I didn't then I would be what people said I was, as well as I would be like those I hate," Naruto said as he remembered at all the names he was called in both lives, which Petunia felt guilty as because of what she called him, and for the rest of the day Naruto was answering all the questions that his aunt had. The next day as Naruto and Petunia left the room, Naruto saw a cat chasing a rat and thought, "Hey, isn't that Crookshanks?" and thought, "Hey, isn't that Crookshanks? I haven't seen him since Io got him for Hermione when I first met her." Then they headed to the eat hall, and as they heard arguing, then Naruto said, "Great, those two are at it again." Petunia turned to Naruto and asked, "You know who's arguing, Naruto?" "I do, so I better stop them before Ron does something stupid," Naruto said, then headed into the eat hall. When Naruto and Petunia entered the hall, they heard Ron say, "I'm warning you, freak, you better keep that monster away from Scabbers or I will change it into something like a tea cozy." "Well, what do you expect, you daft idiot? It's a cat and it's their nature to chase rodents," Hermione said. "Is that what they tell you? What, it is more like a pig with fur," Ron said. "Oh, you should know that, don't you?" Hermione said. "What's that supposed to mean?" Ron asked. "You know what I mean, Ronald, or are you that stupid?" Hermione said. "Why you, but we all know that you are nothing without Naruto," Ron said, and go to hit Hermione. Naruto sees what Ron was doing and quickly activated the rooster, freezing Ron, then said, "I would think twice about doing that, Ron, after all you know how protective of my mate I am." Hermione turns around and says as she runs over to Naruto, "Naruto, you're here, so how was your summer?" "It was fine, but how was yours considering you're now a Neko?" Naruto asked. "It was great, thanks for asking," Hermione said, then she noticed Petunia and asks, "So who's that behind you?" "Oh, right, you haven't met yet, this is Oba-chan. Petunia, this is one of my girlfriends, Hermione," Naruto said as he introduced them as the twins entered the room. "You mean the one that seemed to hate you for being a wizard?" Fred asked. "The very same," Naruto said. And before he could speak to Hermione some more, Molly said, "Naruto, how are doing, and do you have everything?" "I am fine, Ms. Weasley, and I do, thanks for asking," Naruto replied. "That's good, so who is this?" Molly said as she gestured to Petunia. "This is my Oba-chan, Petunia," Naruto said. Molly gives Petunia a stern look, then said, "Oh, I see. Arthur then stepped forward and said, Naruto Potter, how are you doing? Mr. Weasley, I am doing well, thank you for asking, and how was your family trip to Egypt? Naruto said. It went great. Now mind if I have a word with you? Arthur asked. Sure, I don't mind, Naruto said, having a feeling on what it was about. That's good, Arthur said as he led Naruto to a court part of pub, and as he asked, so you looking forward for a new term at Hogwarts? Well yeah, I am, but just hoping it will be a court 1 BTU. With my luck I doubt that will happen, Naruto said. That's good that you are looking for the new term, but not so good that you think something will happen. But anyway, there is something you should know within the ministry. Some are strongly against what I am about to tell you, but I think you deserve to know you are in danger, Arthur said. Well, tell me something I don't know, as there is the famed murderer Sirius Black, Naruto said. So, what do you know about him? Arthur said. Naruto decides to lie about all he knows about Sirius Black. Not much, just what I have read in the library and what that I was sent to Azkaban for murder and now he has escaped. And do you know why that is? Arthur asked. My guess would be either me or the some that sent him there, Naruto said. Arthur was shocked to hear this and asked, What do you mean? Well, Mr. Weasley, over the summer I was chatting with one of my girlfriends whose name is Nymphadora Tonks, and her mother was a Black, and according to her Sirius Black was best friends with my father to the point that they were like brothers. Naruto lied at where he got his information from. Knowing where Naruto was going, Arthur said, So you think he might not be a follower of you-know-who? Which got a nod from the teen boy, but what would you do if he was? Naruto's eyes gained a red tint, which was to scare Arthur. Then he said, If Sirius Black did in fact betray my parents, then he would wish he stayed in Azkaban. But what can you do against him? Arthur asked. Well, Arthur Weasley, let's just say there are some things that I know but will not tell, Naruto replied in a tone that told the man you best drop it. Arthur caught the hidden message and said, Well then just promise me that you won't go looking for him. Naruto smiles a little and said, There is no need for me to do that, which Arthur sighs in relief. Then Naruto said, After all, if he is after me, he will come to me, and if that day comes, I will be ready for him. Arthur gives another sigh of relief, then said, That's good, now let's get your stuff so we can get you off to school. In an hour the big group was in the platform, and once again Petunia was looking around in wonder. Wheel Molly was running up and down the platform with Scabbers looking for her youngest son, and she manages to give Ron the rat before the train started to move and everyone went home. When Naruto, Hermione, Daphne and Tracy was looking for a compartment, they saw one that someone, a sleeping man, and Naruto said, Come on you two, let's stay in this one. When the trio sat down, Hermione looks at the man as well as his luggage then, and Daphne said, Well, I guess this man is going to be our new Dada professor. Yeah, and let's hope Professor Lupin is a good one, Hermione said, causing both Naruto to gain a look while Lily was laughing in his head. Both Daphne and Tracy look at Hermione with a questionable look, and Tracy asks, And how do you know his name? Who do you think his luggage? Hermione replied while pointing at the man luggage. Both Slytherin girls looks to where her friend was pointing, then pouts as Daphne said, You win this one. Then she composes herself, then she turns to Naruto and asks, So what are you planning to do? What about? Naruto asks. You know about Sirius Black, Daphne said. Well, I don't plan to do anything about him BTU. If he come to me then I will ask if he was their keeper, Naruto replied, already knowing who their keeper was. Hermione looks at Naruto with a critical eye before saying, Are you saying that because you don't know, or is that because you don't want anyone knowing that you talk to your mother whose spirit is inside you because you have 12 magical stones inside you, or the fact you already know Professor Lupin? Naruto sighed and said, Yes to both, as I do know who the actual keeper was, and I do know Uncle Remus, seeing as he was friends with Toussaint. Hermione, Daphne, and Tracy nodded in understanding. Then the Greengrass heiress shouted, What? Then remembered that they had company and glanced over to see if the man was awake, but he didn't seem to have moved, then said, And you haven't told anyone about this, not realizing that the Remus was woken up. Actually, I did, but they can't do anything seeing as they can't prove that it was Ka-chan that told her. Then there is the fact that it was done that I would be sent to the Dursley, Naruto said. All the girls were shocked by this news, and so was Remus, as he didn't know this and did all he could not to show that he was awake. Before Hermione said, What do you mean to tell us that the one that placed you with the Dursleys did it on purpose? Naruto nodded and said, That's right, Dumbledore did, seeing as he was the one that cast the Fidelius spell in the first place. I still don't get it, Daphne said. Daphne, Dumbledore cast the Fidelius, so he knew Sirius wasn't the secret keeper, so why didn't he go and sort it out? Then there is the fact that Amelia looked into it and there isn't anything to do with as the case of my parents' murder, Naruto said. Realizing what Naruto was saying, Daphne said, So why didn't the headmaster set Sirius free? Simple, he was the one I was meant to go to if anything happened to Toussaint and Ka-chan, Naruto replied. So, the question is why do all this, Hermione said. Most likely to stick with the status quo, Naruto answered. What do you mean? Daphne asked. Daphne, if you did start talking to me last year, what would you think about magic? Naruto said. Daphne thinks about it before saying, I would still be thinking that it was light and dark, but what does that have to do with anything? I will be getting to that in a sec, Naruto said before turning to Remus, then said, Are you going to keep on pretending to be asleep, Uncle Mooney? Remus removed his jacket and said, Now how did you know that I was awake, Naruto? The moment I saw that jacket jerk when I saw that the headmaster purposely placed me with the Dursleys, Naruto said. Somehow, I am not surprised seeing as you have always been so observant even when I babysat you, Remus said, then turning fully to Naruto he said, Now is what you said about Sirius true? Well, what do you think? The two was known for being like brothers, so everyone would just assume that Two-san would choose Sirius, but I don't know whose idea it was to use Peter, Naruto said. Then Lily spoke up by saying, Naruto, summon me. You sure, Ka-chan? Naruto thought back. Yes, I am Remus, need to know, and it is my responsibility to do it seeing as no one told him I the first place and spent the last 12 years alone, Lily said. Naruto nodded and was about to make a shadow clone when the train suddenly stopped, causing everyone to jolt in surprise, then said, What the why have we stopped? That's what I want to know, seeing as we are not at Hogsmeade yet, Hermione said as Naruto got up to look out in the corridor to see if anyone knows what is happening. As Naruto was looking in the corridor, he sees Fred in the compartment next to him and says, Hey Fred, do you know what's going on? Unfortunately, we don't. This is the first time this has happened since both me and George started Hogwarts, Fred said. Then they heard Ron says in a petrified tone, There is something moving out. Before either Naruto or Fred could say anything, the whole train shook, causing Naruto back in his seat. Then the lights went out and Daphne asked, What was that? Naruto looks out the window and said, I have no clue, but I know it mean bad news. The train shook again, and Hermione then asked, And what was that? My best guess would be someone getting on board the train, Naruto said as he reached into his pocket and pulls out a kunai. Remus was about to scold Naruto for having a weapon before I suddenly got cold, and Hermione said, Now there is no way this is normal for September. You got that right, miss. There is a few magical creatures that can bring the cold like this, and there is one that would be around here, Remus said. A ghostly figure appeared in the door, and it magically opened the door and looked around, scaring Crookshanks. Then upon looking at Naruto, it was about to do something if Remus didn't bring out his wand and cast a spell that produced a silvery glow which made the creature ran off. The group of students looks at their new professor and Naruto said, What was that thing, Professor? It is one of the foulest creature you will ever met called a Dementor, and they are the guards of Azkaban, but no need to worry, it's gone now, and they was searching for Sirius. Now I will be of and see if I can help the driver out, Remus said. Then he heads out of the compartment. Then the group fell into a comfortable conversation, and it wasn't long before the train started to again. When they got school they went to their house tables, but not before seeing Nymphadora at the professor's table, and it wasn't long before Minerva came in with the new first years came in, as well as a girl that looks like she should be in her 3rd or 4th year, and Naruto noticed the smirk that his grandmother was him as she walked past him. Unfortunately for him, Hermione noticed it as well, and she said, So what was that about? I don't know, but I have a feeling it would have to do with the dream I had after Salazar's chamber was sorted, Naruto said. Oh, and what was this dream about? Hermione asked. Naruto smirks and said, I'll tell you later, as I think there will be some people will call me a liar as they listen in. Hermione nods then says, Fair enough. Then they see Dumbledore stands up then says, Now before we start the sorting ceremony I would like to say that it is an honor to have someone from a noble line that was once thought extant. Now allow me to introduce someone that will be starting in their 4th year due to some circumstances which I will not divulge, Artoria Pendragon, which silenced the whole hall as everyone knows of the Pendragon name. Then the headmaster turned to Artoria and said, Now if you will please take a seat on the stool and we will see which house you will be in for the rest of here at Hogwarts. Of course, headmaster, Artoria said as she sat down in the stool. Then Minerva places the sorting hat on her. After a few minutes, the hat shouted, Gryffindor. Artoria gets up and goes over to her new house table and sat next to Naruto, and he said, Hi, you must be the one Cammy told me about, all the while the first years was getting placed. Artoria nodded and said, That's right, I am. And it is nice to officially to meet you, Naruto, and I saw you when Cammy told you that you was getting a reward which was to do with the Pendragons and the Peverell. Realizing what it was that was between the two families, Naruto said, Well, I have to talk to Ba-chan about the couple's suit about adding one more it. Artoria looks at Naruto and said, Oh, and here I was thinking that I was going to be your only special lady. No, you didn't, because I am sure Cammy told you about the laws of some of the houses that I am parts of and properly told you who I will get with instead, Naruto said. Yeah, you're right, she did tell me about that, Artoria said with a little port as she was trying to get Naruto flustered and noticing the look she was getting from a Katie Bell. Then once the sorting was done they turned to the teacher's table as Dumbledore stood up and said, Now be we too engrossed by our beginning of the year feast. I have few things to talk about. The first is to welcome Professor R.J. Lupin, who was kind enough to fill the post of the defense agent's the dark arts. Good luck, Professor. Then Albus gestured to Remus, who stood up and did a few little bows before sitting back down so Albus could continue saying, now the second thing is the professor that was in charge of care of magical creatures has decided to retire so that he can spend time with the limbs that he has left, and fortunately for us I am delighted to announce that our very own groundskeeper has taken up the role as Professor Rubius Hagrid, who thanks to a mysterious benefactor has gained all the licenses he need. Then Hagrid did the same thing that Remus did with some help from the other professors. So that's what he wanted to do. Good for him, Naruto said. Hermione looks at Naruto and said, you're his benefactor, ain't you, Naruto? And when Naruto nodded, Hermione said, did you know that Hagrid was become a professor? Well, I knew he wanted to do something, I just didn't know what, saying that he wanted it to be a surprise. Naruto replied. Then he looked over to Hagrid and said, well, I am looking forward to the magical creature lessons now. So am I. After all, he knows more about the creatures than even the old professor, Hermione said. Then Albus continued his announcement. Now on to the last bit of what I have to say. In light of recent event, the Ministry of Magic has requested that Hogwarts will house the Dementors of Azkaban until the fugitive known as Sirius Black is caught, and they will be stationed at all the entrances of the school grounds. Now I have been assured that while here they will not disrupt our day-to-day activities. Here is a word of caution: Dementors are vicious creatures, as they'll not distinguish between the one they hunt and the one that gets in their way, so therefore do not give them a reason to harm you, as a Dementor's nature, if not a forgiving one. And I am sure you have noticed the young woman next to me is the someone that was seen around the grounds last year. She is here to protect the one that Sirius want to kill, so she will be will all of Naruto's listens but will not interfere, just like last year. Now here are some words of advice: happiness can be found anywhere, even if it's in the darkest of times, if one remembers to turn on the light. Now let the feast begin. Then he waves his hand and the food appears. After a few hours everyone was leaving the hall. Naruto, Hermione, Artoria, Daphne, and Tracy was stopped by Minerva, who was standing at the door along with then Nymphadora. Then Minerva said, good, now that you are all here, I can show you to the couple's suite. Well, that saves me something to worry about, Naruto said. What do you mean, Naruto? Tonks asks. Her, was all Naruto said as he gestured to Artoria. But why would you be worried about her, seeing as you both met today? Tonks asked. Well, just as I was starting to get magic lesson from my mother, both my father and mother made a marriage contract to the youngest of the Peverell, but I died before the contract to be fulfilled, Artoria said. This shocked everyone. Then Tracy asked, so how are you alive? Well, as Naruto had got rid of 3 of Tom's Horcrux, the goddess decided to revive me as a reward, Artoria said. So that what you meant earlier, Naruto? Hermione said. And what do you mean, Hermione? Daphne asked. Well, when Professor McGonagall brought in the first years, Artoria looked at Naruto and smiled at him. When I asked what that was about, Naruto said he had dream after the whole chamber debacle last year and would tell us later. Once Minerva had showed the group their new chamber, she said, now remember you lot, getting this as a privilege so that mean we can take it away if you don't behave. Right, we will try and keep Naruto out of trouble, Hermione said. Why am I being singled out, Hermione? Naruto asked. I don't know, maybe because of what happened over the last 2 years, Hermione answered with a sly smile. Oh, like I had anything to do with whatever happened, Naruto shot back. That may be true, but you got dragged into it by the end of the year, Hermione shot back. Well, she does have you there now. If you don't mind, I have things to finish off before tomorrow, Minerva said before walking out. The next morning, when everyone was in the hall having breakfast, the house heads was handing out the lesson schedules for the year. When Minerva took Hermione out of the hall to speak with her in private, and then they came back in, Hermione sat down next to Naruto and he asked, so what did Ba-chan want to talk to about? Sorry, Naruto, but I can say, Hermione said. All right, I won't ask again, Naruto said. Thank you, Naruto, you are the best boyfriend I could ask for, always helping me out like you did for my parents to get used to me as a Neko, Hermione said. And I will try and be there for you and the others and help you with whatever problems you might have, Naruto said. And that is why you are the best there is, Artoria said as she finished her meal before turning to Naruto and said, now before the lessons start, I need to point out something. And what would that be? Naruto said. Your Quidditch teammate Katie Bell, what do you think of her? Artoria asked, seeing Katie walking up and Naruto not noticing her. Well, I think she's sweet and kind and a capable Quidditch player with the potential to become a professional someday. Why do you want to know? Naruto asked, not knowing that Katie was behind him with a blush on her face. Because she has been giving me and Hermione an evil look and I want to see what you think of her, Artoria replied. No, it like I said last night, and you want the evil look to stop, Naruto said. Damn it, I mean, what are you on about? Artoria said, trying not to look in Naruto directions. Judging by how you are acting, I am right on the money, Naruto said before getting another feeling, then said in a dry tone, and why do I get that Katie is behind me? Neville, who had just finished his meal, said, "That's because she is Naruto." "Great," Naruto said before turning to face Katie and said, "Hey Katie, what can I do for you?" "Is what you said true, Naruto?" Katie asked. Naruto knows what she was asking, but him being who he is said, "I say a lot of things, so you are going to need to be specific." "That you think that I am sweet, kind, and that I can become a professional Quidditch player?" Katie asked. "Well, yeah, but you will have to put the effort in the Quidditch though," Naruto replied, and was surprised to see Katie bend down and give him a kiss on the lips. As Katie was pulling back, she said, "I expect a date to Hogsmeade this year, you hear me?" Realizing that he can go to the town, Naruto knew he had a dilemma, then said, "Well, that is one thing I need to sort out." Before realizing it was almost time for divination, then said, "Well, I can sort the problem out then," before getting up and heading out of the hall. Naruto was standout outside his first lesson, which was divination, and as he was standing there, he was thinking, why do I have this lesson when I don't believe in foresight, and if a prophecy is real then someone has done something that set it on the path, maybe Ba-chan can help me. Then the door suddenly opened and they heard a female's voice say, "Come in, students." Then the class entered the room and sees a woman, a thin woman, usually draped in gauzy shawls, and cloaks and bangles all covered with shining sequins and glittering strings of beads. Then once everyone was sitting down, Naruto was sitting at a table with Ron. She said, "Please sit and drink your tea." Then as the class was drinking their tea, she continued, "I welcome you, my children, and in this room you will be exploring the noble art of divination. In this room we shall see if you process the sight." Then she gets up but also knocks the table, getting a few chuckles from the students, then says as she walks around, "I am Professor Trelawney, and together we shall cast ourselves into the future." Not likely, Naruto thought as he rolls his eyes before listening again. "Which is the art of reading tea leaves," the professor said before saying, "So please pick up the cup from the person opposite you when you are done drinking their tea." Then once everyone had finished they did as instructed, which meant Ron had Naruto's cup. Then she continued, "So tell me, what do you see? The truth lies buried deep within, like a sentence in a book that want to be read." Then she went up to a student and placed her hands on his head. Then she said, "But to do that we must first broaden your minds, and to do that you must look beyond." "What a load of rubbish," Hermione said, appearing out of nowhere, making Ron jump. "When did you get here?" Ron asked. "I have always been here, Ronald. Not that it any of your business," Hermione replied as she tucked something inside her shirt. "If you say so," Ron said as he went back to looking at Naruto's tea leaves. Then the professor turned to Neville and said, "You boy is your grandmother quite well." "I should think so," Neville said. "I wouldn't be so sure," Professor Trelawney said before she made a gesture and said to the person that has his cup, "Give me the cup." Once she looked inside it, she said, "Oh dear, what a pity," causing Neville to look inside the cup. As she was wandering around, she came up to Naruto's table and gasps. Then to Ron she said, "My dear, your aura is pulsating. Are you in the great beyond?" "I think so." "Sure, let's go with that," Ron said. "Look at the cup and tell me what you see, Professor Trelawney." "Well, Naruto has what looks like a wonky cross," Ron said as he looks though a book. Then continued, "Which is trials and suffering." Then he points into the cup and said, "And that there could be the sun, so that's happiness." Then he looks at Naruto and said, You're going to suffer through life, but you're going to be happy about it." Naruto rolls his eye and thought, like this moron known what he's talking about. "Give the cup please," Professor Trelawney said. Then the moment she took a glance inside she gasps and jumps back. "Oh my dear boy, you have the Grim." "What the heck is the Grim? Is that short for the Grim Reaper?" Naruto asked. Then another student said, "Taking the form of a giant spectral dog, it's one of the darkest omens known in the world, as it's an omen of death." "Well, that's not good." "Oh well, if that is true then the Shinigami will have a fight on its hands, as I am not going the afterlife that easy," Naruto said as the dog talisman appeared in his eyes, all the while looking into his cup. After the class was over, Naruto, Hermione, and Neville was walking down the hill as they was on their way to Hagrid's hut for his class when they heard Ron coming up behind them saying, "Naruto, do you think this Grim has anything to do with Sirius Black?" Without thinking about, Naruto said, "Not that it's any of your concern, Ron, but no, it does not." "How can you be so sure? After all, everyone know that it was Sirius Black that betrayed your parents," Ron asked. "Do they actually know? Or do they think they know?" Naruto asked. "What does it matter?" Ron asked. "Anyway, why are you being friendly, Ron?" Hermione asked. "What can I be concerned about a fellow schoolmate?" Ron asked. Before Hermione could say anything, "It matters, Ron, because what people know, what people think they know, are two different things. For example, I know I am engaged to 3 people and in a relationship with another, and I think the founders has a hair." "Oh yeah, can you prove that?" Ron asked. "Can you prove that it was Sirius was the one that betrayed my parents?" "Can anyone?" Naruto said. "Whatever, just don't come to me if you need help," Ron said as he stomped away while thinking, "Blast, I just can't seem to get close to him so I can take ownership of the cat just like Dumbledore promised." "So, what was that about?" Neville asked. "Not a clue, Nev," Naruto said before remembering something. "Oh yeah, so do you want to use Hedwig or Zazu to your parents to see if your grandmother is okay?" "Don't tell me that you believe in that stuff, Naruto," Hermione asked. "Hey, I am not that crazy, you can ask the voices in my head," Naruto said. "You do know that is the divination of crazy," Hermione said. "It is, I thought it was doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result," Naruto asked. "No, that is insanity," Hermione said, laughing a bit as Naruto as he was still his normal self after getting told that he is going to die. "Anyway, whether or not we believe if that sort of shit, it's best to see if someone we care about is safe," Naruto said. "I guess you're right, so I think I will use Hedwig at lunch, thanks Naruto," Neville said. "No sweat, now let's get going as I don't want to be late for Hagrid's very first lesson," Naruto said before walking down the hill with his two friends behind him. When they got to the hut, they heard Hagrid saying, "That's it, come on now, step right up." Then he sees someone talking, then said, "Less talking if you don't mind." Then when everyone was gathered around, he said, "Well now class 1, have a real treat for you for your first lesson and it going to be a great one, so follow me please." Then he heads into a safe part of the forest. Once at the location, Hagrid turns around and said, "All right, less chatting, you low and form a group over there," and points to the area, then said, "Oh yeah, and turn page 49. Then Malfoy asked, "And how exactly do we do that?" Then he sees Naruto opening his book without any trouble, then asked, "Oi, tell me how you did that." Naruto looks at Malfoy and said, "I just did something I doubt you will be able to do." "Well, if you can do it, then why can I, so tell me?" Malfoy asked. "Okay, I just showed it who's bosses," Naruto said as he thought if the book was alive then he should show the book who was boss by forcing it into submission. "Well, that's easy," Malfoy said before he glared at the book before opening, which started to attack him. "Now Naruto, just because you was able to make the book submit to you doesn't mean everyone can," Hagrid said as he walks up to the teen. Naruto turns to Hagrid and says with a little laugh, "Oh, I know, I just couldn't resist," as he set himself up for that prank. "You do know I am going to have to take some point away, right?" Hagrid said. Naruto just nodded and said, "Oh, I know, Professor, but it is worth it seeing someone that is on a high horse getting what they deserve." "Good, and don't do it again," Hagrid said before turning to the and said, "Now don't think that is the only way to open the book. All you have to do is stroke the spine of the book, then goes of somewhere." Then as the class was opening the book, Neville didn't stroke it and was attacked, which got a laugh from his classmates. Then Malfoy said, "Stop being a wuss, Longbottom." Neville sits up and said, "I'm okay," only for the book to attack him again. Naruto looking at Neville and said, "Do you need a hand there, Nev?" "Yes please," Neville said as he was fighting to get the book of him. Naruto kneels down and taps the book and said, "Hey, why didn't you attack me?" Then the book turned to attack Naruto but froze upon seeing him and the book sweated a little. Then Naruto said, "Now you are going to be a good little book and let your owner open you without trouble, right? Open your cover once for yes and twice for no." Then the book opened its cover once, then moves off Neville. Neville stands up and said, "Thanks for that." Then he picks up the book and opens it. "How on earth do you do that?" Hermione asks. "Just something I picked up from someone that trained me in my past," Naruto replied with a smirk. "Well, I think it was funny what you did," Hermione said. "Oh yeah, real funny," Malfoy said. Then he looks around then said, "God, this place is going to the dogs. Just wait until my father hears Dumbledore has this oaf as a professor," causing his two shadows to laugh. "Oh, and here I thought you was going to run crying to daddy because you was dumb enough to copy someone you don't like," Naruto replied. Malfoy walks up to Naruto, then as they was staring each other down, Malfoy jumps back then said, "Dementor. You must be dumber than I thought if you think I will fall for that old trick," Naruto said. Then he turns around then said he was walking back to his friends, "But I am not surprised that you are that pathetic." "You don't have to bait him, Naruto," Daphne said as both she and Tracy was walking over. Naruto turns to face his fiancée and said, "I have no DAHP what you are talking about." "Sure, you don't," Daphne said while looking at Naruto with a look that said, "I don't believe you." Hagrid showed up and got everyone's attention, then showed then a creature was half eagle and half horse. Then he said, "Now say hello to Buckbeak." Then the half giant tossed him something at the creature who ate it. Then he said, "Now what do you think, isn't he beautiful?" What is that thing, Professor?" Ron asked. "That there is a hippogriff, and the first thing you need to know about them is they are a proud creature, and that is the last thing you want to do is insult one, as it could very well be the last thing you do," Hagrid said before clapping his hands, then said as he turns around, "Now then, who would like to say hello?" Which caused all but Naruto to scurry back, and when the professor turned back around to see Naruto standing alone, he said, "Well, looks like we have our first volunteer, well done." "What the?" Naruto said as he looked behind him and see all his classmates was a few meters away. Then he said, "What are you all, cowards, man, or chickens?" Then he shrugged his shoulders then said, "Oh well, this is going to be fun." Then he walks up to Hagrid. As Naruto was walking up, Hagrid the half giant said, Now you want to be polite and let him to make the first move, so step up right up and give him a nice bow, and then you wait for him to bow back, and if he does then you can go up and touch him, and if not, well, we will get to that a bit later. Naruto walk up so he is a good distance from Buckbeak, and before he could bow the hippogriff walks up to Naruto and rubs him. Then from the side the class heard someone say, somehow, I am not surprised something like this has happened, as animals of all kinds have been friendly to him, even the more furious ones, causing them to look around and see a green elderly toad. Hey, Pa, what bring you here? Naruto said. Well, my boy, I am here to inform you that me and Ma you are ready, and I will be back after you are done for the day, then can talk about how the train will go and when, Pa said before puffing away. Cool, Naruto said, then gains a thoughtful look, then said, wonder what I am ready for. As Naruto was thinking about what Pa said, Hagrid walks up at him and said, well, if he is like that, I think he will let you ride him, then hoists him up, then places him on the creature. Naruto then got in position, then turns to Hagrid and said, Professor, I don't mind getting a lift, but can you give the other a warning when you do that? Sure. Oh, one more thing, be sure not to pull out any of his feathers, he might not like it that much, Hagrid said before giving the hippogriff a slap on its rear, causing Buckbeak to run off and flies. After a 5-minute flight which ended because Hagrid whistled and Buckbeak flew down and landed not too far from Hagrid as he was walking over to them, as he was saying, well done Naruto, and of course well done Buckbeak. With the students, most of them was clapping except for Malfoy and his followers, when Malfoy said as he got up, oh please. Hagrid was getting Naruto of Buckbeak, and once the teen was on the floor the new professor said, so how am I doing on my first day? I have to say that you are doing brilliant, Professor, Naruto said as all honesty in his voice, then he said, I am glad I helped you out. Thanks Naruto, now you better get back with the rest of the students, Hagrid said. Right, Naruto said, then as he turns, he sees Malfoy barging past some classmates, then said, oh, we might have a problem, Professor. Before Hagrid could ask what it was, he heard Malfoy say, yes, you're not dangerous are you, you great ugly pigeon, not liking the insult Buckbeak reared. Naruto see Buckbeak rearing thought, shit, just what I need, people seeing me use chakra, well they was about to find out sooner or later. Then he quickly goes though some hand seals, then said substitute jutsu, then there was 2 puffs of smoke and Malfoy is now where Naruto was, and Naruto is now in front of Buckbeak as he was about to bring his talons down, getting Naruto in the shoulder. Hermione, Daphne, Tracy, and Neville sees this and shouts, Naruto, then runs over to him. Once they was at him, Hermione said, Naruto, are you alright? Give me until tomorrow and I will be, Naruto said as if nothing had happened all while he gets up, then he tears some of his uniform and put it on the wound, then walks over to Hagrid and said, mind if I go to the infirmary, Professor? Oh, right you may, Hagrid said as he was snapped out of his shock, then he points so Hermione and Daphne and said, you two, I know you are in a relationship with his, so make sure he gets checked out. Then he leans in the whispers, even if he does uses that healing stone. Don't worry Professor, we will, Daphne said while looking at Naruto with a look that said you better go or else. Then the 2 girls left with Naruto. Malfoy gets up and asked, how did I get here when I was standing in front of the dumb bird, which Buckbeak didn't like but didn't attack the boy as he felt guilty for what he did to Naruto. Then Malfoy said, well, either way my father will hear of this attack and then the bird will die. Then he walks off. Alright class, because of Naruto getting injured I am going to cut the class short, Hagrid said, then he escorts the class away. Not far from where the class was, Tonks walked out from behind a tree while holding a seal, then said, man, I have got to admit Naruto makes some good talismans, even thought they are a cheap knockoff from the ones. Then she looks at the way that the class was going, then said, I see that Junior is just like his dad, shame that the contract can only be voided by the head of the Blacks because they can't be happy in their fake bodies, well time to stop him from getting an innocent creature killed just because he can listen to anyone except for his dad. Then she follows after, destroying the makeshift talisman. When Naruto, Hermione and Daphne got to the hospital wing, Naruto said, I don't need to be here, I am fine. We know that, but we still have to check that there aren't any lasting damages, Hermione said. That's right, you said that the horse can't heal all wounds, so we are here to make sure, Daphne said. Then she points to a chair, then said, now sit, and Naruto smirks in return as the monkey appeared in his eyes, then he turns into a fox and he then sits and give the girls a cute look, causing the 2 gush over him. Madame Pomfrey, who was in her office sorting out the medicine when she heard the gushing and giggling, so she went out to say what was going on, and when she saw Hermione and Daphne then she asked, what's going on here? Shocking the 2 girls, causing the 2 to stand up straight. Then she saw the fox, then she said, you can change now back Mr. Potter. The fox turned back into Naruto, then he asked, how did you? It was me. Because there is a time where you were with one of these 2 fine witches, and let's not forget that you also told me about your talismans, the Meta Witch replied. Fuck, Naruto said. Madame Pomfrey chuckles, then asked, so what brings you 3 here? Well, Madame Pomfrey, it's like this, we were in Professor Hagrid's, Hermione said before she was interrupted. That sounds weird saying it and hearing it, Naruto said, interrupting Hermione. Then he gets hit on the head. Naruto looks to Daphne, who said, "Be quiet," which got a nod from the boy. "Thanks," Hermione said to Daphne. Then she turns back to the Metawitch. Then she continued, "We were in magical creatures, and he was teaching about hippogriffs, and he said never insult one, but Malfoy did just that, and Buckbeak was about to hurt him, but Naruto used a jutsu that he used in our first year when the troll got in." "I see, and he was told to came here and get it checked out?" Madame Pomfrey asked. "Not quite. I said that I will come here by those close to me and that knows my secret knew better, but Hagrid said to Hermione and Daphne to make sure I came here even if I use the horse," Naruto said. "I see. Well then, I better make sure that you are healthy as a horse then," Poppy said before waving her wand over Naruto. Then she said, "Well, looks like you have nothing to worry about, and don't worry, I will still fill out the paperwork that says what happened," Poppy said. "So, you know what happened, or do you want me to use the sheep on you so you can what happened?" Naruto said. "Please, so I can tell what the damage was so I can write it down," Poppy said. "Very well," Naruto said as the sheep appeared in his eyes. Then he touched the Metawitch. Then she collapsed. Then Naruto picked the spiritless body and laid it down on a bed. Then he waited. After 5 minutes, Poppy's spirit exited Naruto's body and went over to her body. Then she said, "Well, you are free to go." "Great, now I can see what Pa wanted to talk to me about," Naruto said as he leaves with the two girls. Once they were outside, they was met with Neville and Tracy. Then Neville asked, "So did you use it?" "By it you mean the horse talisman?" "Then yes, I did," Naruto said. "So, what did that old green toad mean earlier?" Tracy asked. "Well, that I have no idea, but I am about to find out once I summon Pa, so let's meet at the couple's suit after class," Naruto said. Then they nodded and headed off to class. Later that day, the group of friends met up at the couple's suit. Naruto went through the hand seals, then said, "Summoning jutsu." Then there was a puff of smoke, and when it cleared, the green toad was there, and the former ninja asked, "So Pa, what did you want to tell me?" "Well, Naruto boy, it has taken 3 years to sort out, and we have discovered that the magic in nature here can be used as a substitute, but magic is more dangerous seeing as it is far more potent than chakra," Pa said. "That's cool, but a substitute for what?" Naruto said. "For you to become a sage of cause, but you will need to train to master it in Mount Myoboku," Pa said. Hermione then turns to Naruto then said, "Naruto, if you do go through with this, then you are going to need permission to leave the school." "I know, Haim," Naruto said to Hermione. Then he turns back to the elderly toad then said, "Well then, how about we go and get permission?" Then he picks up the toad and leaves the room with the group following. When the group got to Professor McGonagall's office, they knocked, and they heard the professor say, "Come in." As the group entered the office, the professor asked, "Ah, Naruto, what can I do for you?" "Well, Ba-chan, I need permission to leave the school," Naruto replied. "Why do you need that, Naruto?" Minerva asked. Pa then hopes on the desk then said, "I can explain that ever since Naruto summoned Kichi here 2 years ago, for that year we have been wondering if your wild magic can be used the same way as we use nature chakra, and last year, we have been experimenting with it." Minerva then nods then said, "I see, so what does this have to do with Naruto needing to leave the school grounds?" "That's because me and Ma think that he is ready to become a toad sage, and to get the gist of it he will need to train in Mount Myoboku, a place that you have been," Pa said. "I see, so are there any risks to do this?" Minerva said. "Unfortunately, there is. If you bring in too much chakra, or in this case magic, you will turn into a toad statue, but if he does pull it off, then the reward are just as great, because he will be able to sense all live in an area, increase his strength, and learn the toad sage taijutsu," Pa said. Minerva looks over to her grandson and remembered the meeting she had when she was in Mount Myoboku then said to Naruto, "You will learn this even if I said I was against it, wouldn't you?" "I have no idea what you are on about," Naruto replied. "Oh, you don't? Then I guess what Tsunade told me when I met her was a lie then," Minerva said. "No, she wasn't lying when she told you that I will do all that I can to protect those I care for," Naruto said. Minerva smiled then said, "That's what I thought, and I give you permission to leave the school ground, but only on Saturdays." "Thank you, Ba-chan," Naruto said before giving her a hug. Then when he lets go, he turns to Pa and said, "But I can't do every Saturday." "May I ask why you can't?" Pa asked. "Well, you see, once a month third years and up are able to go into a nearby town known as Hogsmeade, and I plan to give my girlfriends a date on that day," Naruto replied. "Well, that's fine, seeing as we just told you that you was ready to become a sage, and no doubt you already had plans to begin with, so I will let the others know what is going on," Pa said before puffing back to Mount Myoboku. "Is that all you needed from me today?" Minerva asked. "That's all for now," Naruto said. "Well, there is one thing, and you should know. Naruto got hurt during Hagrid's lesson," Daphne said. "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," Naruto said. "What happened?" Minerva asked. Well, to be fair, it's not Hagrid's fault. He did warn us not to insult a hippogriff, and Malfoy did just that, and no doubt telling his father that Buckbeak attacked him, leaving out that he insulted the hippogriff, and that Naruto protected him, Daphne said. Well, that's a sucker's bet after all. The guy can't do anything without getting his daddy involved, Naruto said. I see. Well, I will let the headmaster know what happened, but I feel that it will be pointless, Minerva said. Don't worry about that. I already have a plan that I need to speak to Hagrid about it, Naruto said. Oh, and what would that plan be? Neville said. Simple. I will claim the hippogriff as mine, Naruto said. Well, this is the part where I say I hope that it works out, but I know better because you, Naruto, have the devil's luck, Minerva said, and she got Naruto's famous foxy smile in return. Now all of you go and head to the main hall as it is close to dinner time. Then they all left the office and headed to the hall. Then after a few hours they went to bed. Then next day the group was eating lunch listening to Malfoy lying about what happened the day before when Naruto said, he can't go 5 minutes without lying, can he? Well, at least Hagrid is still employed. You might be right on both accounts, and we haven't heard the last of this because I also heard that his father is furious, Hermione said. You got that right, Hermione, Daphne said as she walks over. Then she asked, so apart from the moron, what else are you talking about? Well, we was wondering how good Professor Lupin is at teaching, Neville said. Before anyone could say anything, Seamus came over and shouted, he's been cited. Who's been cited? Ron asked. Sirius Black, Seamus replied. Then Ron looks at the newspaper. After giving it a quick read, Ron said, Dufftown, that not far from here. Then he faces Seamus and asked, do you think he is walking to Hogwarts? What with Dementors at every entrance? Not likely, a random student answered. Dementors, he gave them the slip once when he escaped Azkaban, so who's to say he can't do it again, Seamus said. That's right, and we all know that there is one person here that he would love to kill, another student, while looking at Naruto. Naruto sees the look. Then he said, well, if he is coming here to kill me, then he will find it harder than he thinks to off me, but that is after I find out if he really was my parents' keeper. Well, of course he was, Ron said. Well, I don't know, as I don't take everything I see here and read at face value. After all, there could be more to the thing than we might know, Naruto said before getting up and walks out of the hall. Meanwhile, at the staff table, both Albus and Minerva was watching at Naruto as he was leaving the hall. Minerva thought, good on you, Naruto. I know he is innocent, BTU now that the student might learn to think and look for answers. Meanwhile, Albus was thinking, crap, does he know that Sirius is innocent? Then he shakes his head, then thought, no, that should be impossible, as I was the one that cast the Fidelius spell. Later everyone was at class and Naruto and company was outside their Dada class when the door opened and Professor Lupin said, come in. When they entered the room they saw a wardrobe and every so often it moved. Then the professor said as he walked to the front of the class, intriguing, isn't it? Now is anyone brave enough to have a guess on what's inside? Then one of the students said, that's a boggart, that is. Very good, Mr. Thomas's. Professor Lupin as he continued walking to the front of the class. Then he asked, now can anyone tell me what a boggart looks like? No one knows because they take the form of what one truly fears, Hermione said, appearing out of nowhere, and that is what makes them so terrifying, Remus said. Well, this is going to end in disaster, Naruto mumbled, already knowing what he truly fears. But luckily there exists a charm that can repel a boggart, and it's a very simple one, Remus said, then said, now without wands we are going to it after me, Ridiculous. Ridiculous, the class said. That was very good, but you can do better, so the next time I want you to neigh louder and very clear. Now listen to how I say it, Ridiculous, Remus said. Ridiculous, the class said. This class is ridiculous, Malfoy said quietly to his underlings. Naruto somehow heard what Malfoy said, you mean like you're here, Malfoy, getting the class chuckling. Now Naruto, none of that, Remus said while looking at Naruto. Then he turns to the whole class then said, so much for the easy part, but unfortunately the incantation just isn't enough. What truly finishes a boggart is laughter, so you will need to force it to take the form of what you truly find amusing. Now I think seeing it would be better, so we shall have Neville. Neville looks at Remus and said, what? Neville, would you like to join me please? Remus said, and when he saw that Neville wasn't moving the professor said, come on, there is no need to be shy. Naruto gains a smirk and skillfully moves behind the boy, then pushes him and said, well, go on then, Neville, don't keep the sensei waiting. Neville looks back at Naruto and said, just you wait, I will get you back. Naruto puts his thumbs up and said, well, good luck with that. Hello Neville, now tell me what frightens you most of all, Remus asked. Neville thinks about it then said, truth be told, Professor, I don't know. Well, I suppose that is probably the only good thing about boggarts, Remus said to the class, then faces Neville. Now it is my understanding that you didn't know what you fear because you were friends with Naruto, correct, who is capable of doing thing that even magic can't do. That's right, Professor, I am, And that rumor is true, and before you ask, I and the others know what he truly fears, and I wouldn't recommend putting him in front of a boggart. It will end badly, Neville said. I see, well, if you say so, but that wa'n't what I want to do, Remus said before turning to Naruto and said, Naruto, is it possible for you to change someone? Well, that all depends on what you mean, but unfortunately I can do nothing with those with a stick up shoved up their asses. But if you mean like the multiverse theory and turn Neville into a version of himself that didn't become friend with me, then that I can do it, but the position will last for about 5 minutes, Naruto replied. That's impossible, there isn't a potion like that, after all Professor Snape is the best potions master ever, Malfoy said. Now Draco, let's give Naruto the benefit of the doubt, Remus said to Malfoy before turning to Naruto and asks, and do you have one of these potions ready? I sure do, I just need one more ingredient for it and it's easily accessible, just a bit of here from the one I plan to use it on. One more thing you should know, there is no way to know what type of Neville will be at the reins. It could be the one that you want or it could be an asshole version, so do you still want to take that risk? Naruto asked. Remus thinks about it then said, do it, and if this fails, I will take responsibility, seeing as you have warned me that the outcome will be unpredictable. All right, but I will ask Neville if he want to do this. I will not force anyone to do it, Naruto said. Remus nods then says, that is fair. Naruto nods then goes over to Neville, and as he was walking over, he pulls out a flask and says to Neville, you want to do this, Nev, you will be aware for the whole thing, but you will not be in the driving seat. Neville thinks about it then said, I do, as you have always been there for me. I want to know what would have happened if we didn't became friends. Then he plucks a strand of hair and hand it to Naruto. Naruto takes the hair and places it in the flask, then he gives it little shake, then he hands it over to Neville and said, I will not lie to you, this will taste nasty. Speaking from experience, are we? Neville asked. So, sue me for wanting to see what I was like if I fell into my despair, Naruto said. Wait, you mean to tell me that you have done this? Neville asked. Sure have, Naruto said before suddenly feels dread, then asked, Nev, is Hermione and Daphne behind me? Neville looks behind Naruto and sees the two girls looking at their boyfriend, fiancé with a look that said you are in trouble. Then he turns to Naruto and said, nah, you're fine. Then he takes the potion just in time for the two girls to grab Naruto and drag him away. As Hermione and Daphne was dragging Naruto to the back of the class, Hermione said, you are in trouble for trying new potions without me, or Daphne with you. Naruto looks at Neville, who was about to drink the potion, and he quickly said, damn you, Neville, I will get you back. No, this is me getting you back for pushing, Neville said before drinking the potion. Then his world goes dark. When Neville opens his eyes, he turned to the Professor Lupin, and the professor said, now Neville, can you tell me what you fear? Professor Snape, Neville said in a scared and timed tone that Naruto, Hermione and Daphne wasn't you two. Impressive, the potion works, Lupin thought. Then he said, sorry, what was that? Professor Snape, Neville said a bit louder, which got the class laughing. Yes, well, truth be told, I think he frightens everyone, Professor Lupin said before continuing, and until the summer between you first and second year you lived with your grandmother. That's true, but I don't want that boggart to transform into her either, Neville said. Don't worry about that, Lupin said as the wardrobe shook. Now I want you to picture her clothes, just her clothes, and the key is they have to be as clear as possible. Then Neville started to say what his grandmother wears. Then the professor said, we don't need to hear it, Neville, as long as you see it, then we all will see it. Now when that wardrobe, here is what you are going to do. Then he walks over, then he leans in and whispers something in Neville's ear. Then the teen looks at the professor in surprise. Then the older man asked, can you do that? Then both of them took their wands out. Then the teacher said, wand at the ready. Then he counted. Then the wardrobe door opened and Snape walks out. As the boggart walks over, Neville cast Ridiculous. Then Snape's clothing changed into a woman's with a bird-type hat. Then class busted out laughing. Now this would be perfect material for a prank, Naruto thought as he stealthily pulled out a camera and took a picture. Then he looked to his side and sees Hermione looking at him, and he said, what? That better not be for a prank, Hermione said. Of course not, Naruto denied. Then why did you take a picture? Hermione asked. Naruto paused so he could quickly think of something. Then he said, so when I am feeling down, I can just look at it and my mood will be better. Right, Hermione said with a tone that said, I don't believe you. Before either one of them could say anything else, the professor said, alright, everyone form a line. And everyone did as told, and Ron was in front. Then he puts on a very old vinyl player. The boggart looked at Ron for a few seconds, then it turned into a giant spider. Then Naruto thought, that looks like Black Widow. Ron then raised his wand, then said Ridiculous. Then the boggart gained stakes and it was having trouble standing upright. That's it, Ron, well done. Now Parvati, you're up next, Remus said with encouragement. Then Ron then went to the back of the line. As Parvati walked up to the boggart, which changed into a giant cobra, then she said Ridiculous. Then the boggart was turned into a giant Jack in the Box. Good work, Parvati, and next step right up, Professor Lupin said as the girl went to the back and Naruto walked up. As Naruto walked up to the boggart, he thought, this isn't going to go well. Then as he stood in front of the boggart, it waited for a few seconds before it started to transform. After a few seconds later, the boggart finished transforming, which was Tsunade, shocking everyone at who the woman is. Then the boggart said, well, look who it is, the useless Gaki, pathetic as like always. As the boggart continued to insult and belittle Naruto, it suddenly said, and you are not worthy of your name. Then suddenly Naruto shouted, with one of his eyes glowing green and the other red, enough. Then a shockwave shot out of him, and the force of the shockwave sent everyone flying, even the boggart. The school even shook. Then Naruto collapsed. As everyone was getting up, Lupin thought, so that's what Neville meant by it will end badly. Then he said, alright, class lesson is dismissed. Also, I will need two of you to take Naruto to the hospital wing. As everyone was walking out of the class, Daphne and Hermione walks over to Naruto and the heiress said, we will do it, Professor. You sure you can handle him? Remus asked. We will be fine, Hermione said as both her and Daphne pulls out a flask with a lime green liquid. What's that stuff do? Lupin asked. This stuff? Daphne asked as she holds up the flask. Then she replied, it's a potion that lets us remove something that is inside Naruto, which can help us get him to the wing much easier. Then both girls pour the potion on their hands. Then as they was about to enter Naruto, Daphne said, first one to get the ox carries Naruto to the hospital while the other opens the door. Sure, then that way it's fair, seeing as we have no clue where the talisman is, Hermione said. Then they put then inside the Naruto. After a few minutes of feeling, Daphne pull out the talisman, then said, looks like IWN. Then she holds up as proof. Then she holds it firmly to activate it. Then she puts Naruto into a fireman's carry. Well, I see what you mean, but what is that thing? Remus said, asked. Then he said, I will go with you, and you can tell me all about it. All right, Hermione said as she opened the door for Daphne. Then as they was walking to the hospital, they was telling the professor all about Naruto's abilities. By the time they had finished, Remus was shocked. Then he said, wow, he has that much power, but how does he have that much power? Daphne and Hermione looked at each other. Then the latter said, sorry, Professor, but that isn't our place to tell. I suspected that would be your answer, Remus said. When they got the hospital wing and the moment they entered, Madame Pomfrey sees them. Then she asked, what has Mr. Potter done this time? Sorry, Poppy, but this was on me, Remus said. What happened? Poppy asked as she instructed the girl to put Naruto on the bed. Well, I had special lesson planned for today, but unfortunately there was an unforeseen excitement, Remus said. So what was your lesson about? Poppy asked. Boggarts and how to handle them, Remus replied. And what does Mr. Potter have to do with this? Poppy said. Well, it was his turn and the boggart turned into a blonde woman with the biggest chest I have ever seen, and it started to insult Naruto, and before long there was shockwave that shook the school, Remus said. So that's what happened. So that power surge must have been a safety measure in case Naruto feels like he is trapped, Poppy said. That's right, it, Kurama said as both she and Minerva was walking into the wing. So what's the verdict? Minerva asked. It's nothing too serious, just a case magical exhaustion. He should be fine in an hour or so, Poppy said. That's great, Minerva said. Then she turned to the girls then said, now why not tell me what happened? Then the two girls told the transformation professor what happened. Then Daphne said, Professor, do you know who that woman was? I do, seeing as I have met her once and she told me to look after Naruto as he will get himself into all sorts of troubles, and her name is Tsunade Senju and she was like a grandmother to Naruto, Minerva said. It is now the weekend and everyone was standing in front of Minerva, who was giving the typical speak on how this was a treat and can be revoked at any time, then started to head out, and Naruto was giving Hermione, Daphne and Tonks a date with the original begin with Hermione. Later that day, when the day was over, Naruto, Hermione and Artoria was heading to the Gryffindor's common room to chat with Neville so Artoria can get to know Neville. When they see that the Fate Lady picture was cut up, when Professor Dumbledore came over with the caretaker and examined the picture, then said, Mr. Filch, round up the ghost and tell them to search each and every painting that is in the castle, find the Fat Lady. There is no need for that, Professor, because I see the Fat Lady, the caretaker said as he points to one of the paintings, making everyone go to the painting. When everyone was in front of the painting, the head professor made his was to the painting. Then he said, my dear, who did this to you? From inside the painting, the Fat Lady rose from the other side of the hippo while saying, he has the eyes like the devil and a soul as dark as his name. It was him, Headmaster, the one that everyone talks about. He is somewhere in the castle, Sirius Black. Then she screams, then hides again. Mr. Filch, I want you to secure the castle now, the rest of you to the Great Hall, Dumbledore ensured. Well, thank Kami that we have a suit, Naruto said to Hermione, who nods. Then he turns to Neville and asks, Neville, do you want to bunk with me until they get a suitable replacement? Neville looks at Naruto for a second before remembering that he has a couple's suit. Then he said, if that's okay with you. We don't mind, after all it's better than sleeping on the floor, Hermione said. Then they all went to the Naruto suit. As they was hiding away, they was stopped by Dumbledore, who asked, here are you four going? Oh headmaster, we was heading to our room and we invited Neville to stay with us until you sort out the painting, Naruto replied. But the Gryffindor house has been compromised, Dumbledore said. Yeah, but me, Hermione, Artoria and several others haven't been sleeping in our house beds since the year began, Naruto replied. And why is that? The headmaster asked. Because we were given a couple suite with multiple room, Naruto replied. But I never authorized that, Dumbledore said. True, but Professor McGonagall did while she was acting head the end of last year, Naruto said. But why do you have one? The headmaster asked. Maybe it's because now I am officially engaged to 3 people and 2 of which attend the school and you are authorized to give us one unless you think we can't be trusted, Naruto said. Knowing that he can't just take the suit away without probable cause, Dumbledore said, very well, have a good night's sleep. Thank you, headmaster, Naruto said before walking away with Neville, Hermione and Artoria. When they got to their room, they told Daphne what had happened, then they chatted for a few hours, then they went to bed. The next morning at breakfast, Naruto was eating his breakfast with his friends and loved one when the Weasley twins came over and Fred asked, so Harry, is the rumor true? What rumor would that be? Naruto asked. That a old toad spoke to you, George replied. That is true, and I will be going to Mount Myoboku after I have finished breakfast, as the elders of the Toad Summons believe that I am ready to become what those from my past would call a sage, Naruto replied. Cool, when you get back you have to show us if there are any changes with you, Fred said. Will do, Naruto said. Oh, and before you go, can you tell us where Mount Myoboku? He gets up and walks out the door, then he finds a concealed place, then he did bit his finger, then did some hand signs, then slammed them on the ground while saying summoning jutsu, then there was a puff of smoke. Once the smoke was clear, Gamakichi was there, then he said, Hiya Naruto, you ready? I am Kichi, Naruto said as he placed a hand on the toad's back before they both disappeared in a puff of smoke. Mount Myoboku. When the two got to the land of toads, Kichi said, follow me and I will take you to see the elders, then he leads the way. When they got to the hut, Pa said, welcome Naruto boy, I see you're here to start your sage training. I am, Naruto said. Good, well then come along, seeing as you're here for 12 hours, Pa said before leading Naruto to a training area, then he said, here we are, the train ground that will help you become a sage. Pa said before going into detail how one becomes a sage, then he starts the training and lets Naruto use only 4 clones, this bit is basically canon. When the day was done, Pa said, well done Naruto boy, you have done well, a bit more practice and you will become a sage. Thank you Pa, and I have a reason to get strong, Naruto said. I understand you have a few fine ladies by your side, Pa said before jumping onto Naruto's shoulder before they both disappeared in a puff of smoke. When the duo puff into the world, Naruto turns to the toad then asked, so what are you going to do now? Well, I am going to find your grandmother and tell her how your training is going, as well as to keep an eye on you, seeing as you will try and practice senjutsu when where you can, Pa replied before hopping away. Seeing the old toad jumping away, Naruto quickly said, and what is that supposed to mean? The old toad stopped then replied, whenever you have the opportunity you will always train yourself into the ground and or until your bones are broken, then he hopes of. Once the old toad was gone, Naruto said, well, time to see what the time is, then he walks away and looks at the clock and sees that it is dinner time, then he heads to the Great Hall. Once he was to the hall, Hermione sees him then said, Naruto, I was worried that you would miss dinner seeing as we haven't seen you all day because we thought the training would be a few hours long, not the whole day. Well, as you can see I am here, Naruto said as he sits down, and once he has a plate full he begins to tell them how his day went and the outcome of his training. That's great, Hermione said before tell Naruto about how her day went. Then when the dinner was over they went into their room and chatted a bit more, then went to bed. A few days later the group was in their Dada class when suddenly Professor Snape and started to close the blinds, then when he was at the front of the class he lowered the projector screen, then to the class said, turn to page 394. As everyone was turning to the page that the professor said, Ron asked, Professor, where is Professor Lupin? I don't think that it is any of your concern now, is it, Weasley? Snape said as he walks to the projector as he continues, but if you want to know, your Dada professor finds himself incapable of teaching at the current time. Now turn to page 394. Before gently tapping the projector turning it on, then he sees Ron going through his book one page at a time, so he flicks his was and Ron's book turns to the page, which made the boy jump a bit. Ron looks at the page then said, werewolves. Hermione, who just seemed to have just appeared, turns to Snape and said, but sure, we just started learning about red caps and hinky punks, we are not meant to start learning about nocturnal creatures for another 4 weeks. Where did she come from? Did you see her come in? Ron asked Naruto. Not really, but I don't really care, Naruto whispered back. Now can any one of you tell me what the difference is between a werewolf and an animagus? Snape said with Hermione's hand going up with Naruto following, which the professor ignored as he said, no one. How disappointing. Please sir, Hermione said before saying, an animagus has the ability to choose when they can transform into an animal. A werewolf, on the other hand, has no choice. With each full moon, he or she no longer remembers who they are and will kill their best friend the first chance they get. Furthermore, a werewolf only responds to their own kind, which got a howl from Malfoy. Thank you, Mr. Malfoy, Snape said before turning to Hermione. Then he said, and that is the second time you have spoken out of turn, Ms. Granger, so answer me this: are you incapable of restraining your, or do you take great pride being an insufferable know-it-all? He does have a point, Ron whispered. Before Hermione could answer, Naruto said, then do you take pride in being a biased asshole, making the class gasp. Professor Snape turns to Naruto and said, what was that, Mr. Potter? So not only are you a biased asshole, you're hard of hearing who can't teach, who only got the job because Dumbledore believes you have swapped sides, but sometime, I wonder about that, Naruto said. What are you insinuating? Snape asked. What, that a Death Eater, sorry, former teaching a class that witches and wizards need to get a decent job like being a medic. It makes me wonder, when witches or wizards are good enough, do you deliberately lower their grading so they can't get into that profession? Naruto said. As Snape walks away while saying, as Malfoy send a swan origami over to Naruto which he caught. 15 points from Gryffindor, and as an antidote for your ignorance, and on my desk by Monday 2 parchment rolls on werewolves with a particular empathies on recognizing them. But Professor Baka, it's Quidditch tomorrow. Well, it's not like you would unless it's Slytherin, Naruto said. Enough of that lip, Mr. Potter, because loss of limbs will not excuse you. Now turn to page 394, Snape said before walking away. I bet it would if it was a Slytherin, Naruto said, ignoring the professor as he opened the swan, which was a drawing of him playing Quidditch, but he was getting stuck by lighting. The next day Naruto was playing Quidditch in really bad weather when he sees Lighting Sticks, one of his teammates, and no one would be able to help her as she was flying too erratic, so he thought, if I don't do anything she will get hurt. Then the rooster appeared in his eyes, then the broom stopped and was lowered to the ground. Then he said, good, now to focus on the match, before flying off. Meanwhile in the stand, people was murmuring on what just happened when Hermione said, of course you would risk exposure if a life was danger. Neville, who was standing next to her, said, and isn't that why you and the others fell for him? You're not wiring there, it's just he just doesn't care about his own safety, Hermione said. And with his past, can you blame him, as he knows better than anyone what suffering can do, Neville said. I guess you're right, Neville, Hermione said as they watched Naruto fly up into the sky. As Naruto the Hufflepuff's Seeker was following the snitch, then as the Seeker was about to grab the golden flying ball, it was struck by lightning, electrocuting him. Then he tumbles to the ground. Then Naruto said, shit. Then he was about to follow him to get him to the ground safely. He sees something that makes him stop. Then he was looking at a really dark cloud that looked like a grim. Then said, well, that's not a good sign. Then he sees the snitch fly close to him. Then said, there you are, come here. Then he tries and grabs it before flying off, making Naruto said, hey, get back here, before flowing it. As Naruto was following the snitch, he noticed ice forming, then thought as he reached out, not good. Then he looks around looking for the Dementors, all the while keeping an eye on the snitch, and it was long before he sees one coming. Then said, gotta go. Then he starts flying around trying to lose the 2 Dementors that was flowing him, but what he didn't notice that there was a lot more gathering beneath him until it was too late. Then he said, as one was right in front of him, fuck, and started to do something which made Naruto to let go of his broom before he tumbles to the ground himself. As Naruto was tumbling to the ground, he regained his senses, then shouted, shit, as the rooster once again bringing himself to a halt. Then he said, man, that was close. Then he looks behind him to see the Dementors coming at him. Then he said, don't these things give up, before the rabbit appearing in one eye while the other still has the rooster. Then he flies down. Back in the stand, Neville asked Hermione, who was looking through a pair of binoculars, do you see him? After searching for a bit, Hermione said, for a few moments I did. What do you mean? Artoria asked. Well, he was tumbling to the ground before stopping suddenly, most likely thanks to the rooster talisman. Then he looks back before suddenly disappearing, before looking up. Then she said, so that's why. What do you mean? Artoria asked, only to be given the binoculars. Then looking for a bit, I thought Dumbledore said that they will not enter the school grounds. Meanwhile with the Professor Minerva, who was also looking for Naruto, then she sees the Horde Dementors. Then she said, Albus, we might have a problem. What do you mean, Minerva? Dumbledore asked. It would appear that the Dementors have come on to the school grounds, Minerva said as she hands her binoculars to the headmaster. As Albus looks through the binoculars, then he thought, this could be the perfect opportunity to worm my way into Naruto's good books. Then he said, I see what you mean now. Where is Mr. Potter? I don't know, but I am sure that it was to get away from the Dementors, Minerva said, knowing that Naruto must have used the talismans to save himself as well as to get away. Well, let's send them away, Dumbledore said before he and several other professors pulled out their wands and let loose a silvery glow. Meanwhile Naruto was looking for his broom when he sees a tip of a broom, so he picks it up and looks at it. Then he see Nimbus 2000 on it. Then he said, Bullocks, there goes a perfectly good broom now to get to the stadium and let the professors know that I can't play anymore. Then he heads back to the stadium. Then he thinks, I really need to find a way to deal to those things. You got that right, Naruto, Kurama said as she walks up to him. So where have you been? Haven't seen you since I left, Naruto said as he picks up Kurama and places her in his shoulder before continuing to head to the stadium. And as he was walking away, he missed a black dog's head coming up from a hole that was at the base of the willow tree, and as it watched Naruto walk away, it had a sad look on its face before going back down into the hole. Not much been annoying the hell out of the magical creatures that has made the great forest their home, especially the werewolves. That pack leader is an asshole, Kurama said as she begins to Naruto what she and the other have been up to over the summer. Then once she was done, she asked, so what have you been up to? Well, where to begin? Naruto said. Then he goes over what happened over the summer. By the time Naruto was done telling her the cause of the summer, she was laughing. Then when she calmed down a bit, she said, well, it served that hag right for saying that about Lily, and I am glad that Petunia now understands why you stayed in that hellhole. It was because you wanted to be your family and that you could have left at any time, and hopefully she listens to you about finding about partner. I hope so too. She deserves a little magic in her life, Naruto said before thinking, what do you think, Ka-chan? You are right, Naruto, but what she does is her choice, Lily replied. Well, that guy that she was talking to seemed like a nice bloke and I didn't sense any negative feeling from him, Naruto said. Anyway, so what is this Artoria like? Kurama asked. Well, first of all, Artoria is the daughter of King Arthur and Morgan Le Fay, and she is a great person with a lovely personality, Naruto said, and it wasn't long before they was at the stadium before going into the area that is designated for the players that is unable to continue to play. As Naruto was walking over to the area, Madam Hooch fly over to him and asked, why are you heading to the unable to play area, Mr. Potter? Because I am unable to play, Naruto said as he showed her what was left of his broom. Madam Hooch looks at what was shown to her, then she said, I understand, I will announce that you can't play, before flying off and made the announcement. Then 5 minutes later, Hufflepuff won the match. Later that day, Naruto was summoned to the headmaster's office, and upon entering it he sees the old man and he said, you wanted to speak to me, Professor? Ah, Naruto, yes, I did. There has been few rumors floating around about recently, Dumbledore said. There has. I don't really pay attention to things like rumors, as most of the time they are started by someone trying to ruin someone's reputation, Naruto replied. That may be true, but there is the possibility that they are true, Dumbledore said. That's true, so what do you want to confirm whether or not they are true? Naruto said. That's right, the first is that you are friendly with a green talking frog, Dumbledore said. First of all, Pa isn't a frog, he is a toad, and second of all, what I associate with is none of your concern, Naruto said. Now my boy, I am just worried about your safety, Dumbledore said. Well, you have nothing to worry about. That Pa would never do anything that would hurt me internally. At least one more thing, Pa has known me a lot longer than you will know, Naruto said as he remembers what Pa said to him if he takes in too much natural magic. How can you be so sure? Dumbledore said. As I said, Professor, what I do outside of school is none of your concern. Now then, what else do you want to talk about? Naruto said. Seeing as he wasn't going to persuade Naruto to distance himself from the toad, Dumbledore said, I see now the second rumor is that you called Professor Snape a Death Eater in class. Then I called him a former, Naruto said. Even so, how did you know about that? Dumbledore asked. You have your spy network, I have mine, Naruto said. What is with Naruto? Why isn't he listening to my advice so he can die for the greater good? Dumbledore thought before saying, now Naruto, you mustn't hold someone's past against them. With that, Professor, I agree, and normally I don't, Naruto said. Then why are you doing so with Professor Snape? Dumbledore asked. I am not, but he is a bit biased to those who are not in Slytherin, taking away points from the other houses over stupid reasons, Naruto replied. I am sure they are not stupid, Dumbledore said. So would you take away point for accidentally adding something to a potion? Naruto said, and when the headmaster didn't reply, the teen said, he never believes those in other houses, and he even said that it was disappointing that no one know the difference when two people knew. And before that, Hermione asked a question as we suddenly started learning about nocturnal creature for another month, Naruto said. Well, I see what you mean, so I will have a chat with Professor Snape and see if he can be fair, Dumbledore said. You can chat with him, but I don't think he will change, Naruto said. Now Naruto, you must give him a chance, Dumbledore said. I do, but when it come to him I will not get my hopes up, Naruto said. Then he asked, is there anything else you need? Yeah, there is one more thing I need to speak you about, and it's that position you gave Neville when you faced that boggart, Dumbledore said. Yeah, what about it? Naruto asked. I was wondering how did you make it, as there isn't any potions that is capable on having that sort of effect, Dumbledore asked. Well, in the magical community I am not surprised, but I know another type of magic, and this one should stop the fighting between magical and muggles, Naruto said. Dumbledore began to sweat a bit as the boy before him is claiming to break the walls that separates the two worlds. Then he said, "Now Naruto, would that be necessary? Well, if I want to unite the people of the world so there is no more need to hide magic, then it is," Naruto said. "I see, so that's your goal?" Dumbledore asked. Naruto nods then said, "Yeah, it is." "And what if you were to die before that?" Dumbledore asked. "Well, I am a stubborn one and I don't plan to die before, so a lot of people are stuck with me, and whether that's a good or a bad thing, that's yet to be known," Naruto said before thinking. "Plus, as long as I have the dog, I can't die." "I see, well, that's all, you may leave," Dumbledore said. "Thank you, sir," Naruto said before leaving. Once Naruto was gone, Dumbledore thought, "As isn't good, I have to see if I can get rid of that dream so he can die when the time comes." Then he started to make plans to get Naruto to give up on those dreams. Later, when Naruto got back to the common room, he saw that Hermione Artoria and there with Neville and the team there. Then he said, "Hey guys, what's up?" "Nothing much, just discussing on what we are going to do in future games seeing as our seeker lost his broom," Katie said. "I am sure everything turns out fine," Naruto said before turning to Artoria and Hermione then said, "So shall we head back to the suit?" And with a nod they left. When the group got back to the suit, they was met with Daphne, and then the girls turned to Naruto and the Hermione asked, "So why didn't you repair your broom?" Naruto took a sigh then sat down. Then he said, "Because I couldn't, even with the horse's power." "Why not?" Artoria asked. "Because when it comes to repairing things, the whole thing has to be there," Naruto said. "But you repaired Neville's father's wand," Hermione said. "And I was lucky that the whole thing was there, otherwise it would have failed," Naruto said. "And because it fell into the Weeping Willow, you can't guarantee that you have the whole thing," Daphne said, getting a nod from Naruto. Then after a bit more chatting they went to bed. After a few days, Naruto was walking Kurama around the lake with Professor Lupin, and they were talking about stuff when Remus, "I heard about your broom, Naruto." "No surprise there, and it's a shame, I really liked that broom seeing as it was my first broom," Naruto said. "And there isn't any way to repair it?" Remus asked. "No, there isn't," Naruto replied. "Not even with your powers?" Remus asked. "And how do you know about them?" Naruto asked. "Because your parents James and Lily told me and Cyrus about them after a few time I babysat you before they went into hiding," Remus said. "So what did I do?" Naruto asked. "You brought your toys to life, spent hours invisible and many other stuff," Remus said, getting a chuckle from Naruto. "Hey, Professor, can I ask a question?" Naruto asked. "Sure you can," Remus asked. "Do you know why the Dementors have an interest in me?" Naruto asked. "Before I tell you that, Naruto, as I have told you before, a Dementor is one of the most foulest creature that roam this earth, because they feed on every good feeling anyone has, and I mean every happy memory, until their victims are left with nothing but their worst experiences. But you are not real, Naruto," Remus said. "So you're telling me that the Dementors come after me because of the horror I call a childhood?" Naruto asked. "Right, and I feel that what you went through the first time can't hold a candle to what you know who has done," Remus said. "That's one way of saying it. Heck, I think the girls had nightmares for a while when they saw my past, and I am sure it would break a man," Naruto replied. "You're properly right about that. I think Lily cried around the time you were conceived, and at the time me and Sirius thought it was tears of joy, but after being told so of your past we understood why, so therefore you have nothing to be ashamed of," Remus said. "What's there to be ashamed of? Everything that I had endured has made me into the person I am today, even if I am a little scared," Naruto said. "I would consider you more of a fool if you weren't," Remus said. "Can you teach me how to deal with them, seeing as you made the one on the train go away?" Naruto asked. "And there was only one that night," Remus said. "But still I need to do something about it, as otherwise you will be seeing the person that is behind the mask I wear," Naruto said. "I don't pretend to be an expert, but seeing as the Dementors have an interest in you, I should teach you that way. When I pass, I can face your parents when it's my time," Remus said. Before long it was the next trip to the village, and Naruto was taking Artoria on a date, and they are at the Shrieking Shack taking when Malfoy shows up saying, "Well, what do we have here? It's Potter and a blood traitor." "A what?" the Pendragon heiress asked. "Oh, it's something thing that assholes like him, his family and their master say about those with power behind their names that associate with half-bloods and muggleborns," Naruto replied. Then he turned to Malfoy and asked, "So what are you doing here, Malfoy?" "Well, if you want to know, we came here to show you who your superiors are," Malfoy replied. Naruto opened his mouth to say something, but Hermione with Kurama behind her showed up and say, "Hope you don't mean yourself." Malfoy turned to Hermione and say, "How dare you talk to me like that, you filthy little mudblood?" Then he shouted on pain as the multi-tailed fox was biting his leg. Naruto, Artoria and Hermione was laughing at the scene. Then Naruto said, "Kurama, let go of him, yo don't know where he has been," which caused the fox to let go. Once Kurama let go of Malfoy, he turned to Naruto and said, "You will pay for this." Naruto looked at Malfoy then asked, will this be like all the other time I had done something to you or will you be running to your father like always? Malfoy just glanced before turning to his two lackeys then said, we are going, then left. Once Malfoy and his cronies was gone, Hermione turns to Naruto and said, do you always have to antagonize him every time? Naruto pretends to think for a bit then said, if he stops being a Tem then I will. Then he asked, so what brings you here, Haim? I came here to see the Shrieking Shack. Hermione replied then she remembered that the two before her was on a date then she said, sorry I will just leave you to continue your date. Then she starts to walk away. Wait, I didn't mind if you join us seeing as now we are seeing all the places I want to see and I am sure some of the places you want to see as well. Artoria said then she walks up to Hermione then whispers in her ear. Also I am sure sooner or later Naruto will want to take multiple girls on a date thought I think it will mostly be what come after, which cause Hermione to go beat red at the meaning of that the revived heiress said. Naruto sees Hermione's red face then asked, are you okay Hermione? I am fine. Hermione stuttered out then asked, you sure you don't mind if I join you? Well if Artoria doesn't mind I don't, Naruto said. A little while later they were now walking through the town when they saw the minister and Minerva outside Madame Rosmerta's pub then when they heard Rosmerta shout, Harry Potter, before they all hurried into the pub. Look like Ba-chan is still playing along, Naruto said. What do you mean by that? Hermione asked. Ba-chan knows that Sirius is innocent, and she is trying to find his location so I and Ka-chan can talk to him, Naruto replied then they continued their date. And before long the holidays came and went, and Naruto walked into an office with Professor Lupin already in and on a platform and he said, Naruto good you came now before we start are you sure you want to do this because the spell I will be teaching you is very advanced magic it's beyond the ordinary wizarding level. Are you trying to put me off because all I am hearing is motivation, Naruto replied. Remus chuckled a bit then said, should have expected that because from what seeing as I was told that you made a bet with someone about one of your original magic. Naruto looked at Remus for a moment then chuckled as he knows what bet he was talking about then said yeah Ba-chan that I couldn't master Rasengan in a week because it took my father 3 years to make my sensei half a year. At least you're not one to back down from a challenge anyway everything's prepared, Remus said before walking down from the platform while saying, now the spell you will be learning is known as the Patronus Charm have you heard of it? Naruto thinks for a bit before shaking his head then said, no I haven't. I would have been if you did anyway a Patronus is basically a positive force, Remus said. That's good to know so what does it do? Naruto asked. For a wizard that can conjure one up it acts like a shield so that the Dementor feeds on it rather than him and for the spell to work you will need to think of a memory, Remus said as he sat on a chest. I am going to take a guess and say it's not that simple as it, Naruto asked. You're right it's not the memory needs to be a happy memory and a powerful memory at that can you do that? Remus said asked. I sure can, Naruto replied. Good now close your eyes and concentrate and explore both your pasts, Remus said as he stands back up and starts slowly walking around Naruto then after a few moments he asked, have you found a memory then allow you to fill you up with that happiness of the memory and then lose yourself I then speak the incantation Expecto Patronum. Expecto Patronum, Naruto repeated. Very good, Remus said then he walks back to the chest then said, shall we so wand at the ready, and when Naruto was ready, he waved his hands the chest unlocked. After a few suspenseful seconds, the professor opened the chest and a Dementor came out then Naruto said, Expecto Patronum, but nothing happened then he said, Expecto, then repeated a few times before he blacks out. After some time he started to come to Remus was there saying, here we go come on Naruto sit up and take. As Naruto sat up, he said in a groggy tone, guess I didn't pull the charm off. No you didn't, would have been remarkable if you did, Remus said then he reaches into his pocket and said, here eat this you'll feel much better, then he hands Naruto a chocolate biscuit. That was one good copy almost thought it was a real one, Naruto said as he bites the biscuit. Somehow, I am not surprised you knew it was a boggart, Remus said before going to relight the candles then he asked, just out of curiosity which memory did you choose? It was the first time I was hugged in a meaningful manner, Naruto replied. Remus turned to face Naruto then asked, care to explain? Well in my past life I was also an orphan because on the day I was born Kurama attacked the village being controlled and but stabbed my parents and my father sealed him into me costing his soul, Naruto said. Why did it cost your father his soul? Remus asked. Because the seal he was using summoned the Shinigami, Naruto said. Oh my, Remus said. Anyway because I had one if 9 creature known as the Biju I was known as a Jinchuriki and while the one I saw as a grandfather wanted to keep it a secret but somehow word got out and I was hated shops would throw me out and when they didn't they would sell me rotten food triple price and until I met Ba-chan I never been hugged in a loving manner, Naruto said. Remus was shocked to hear about Naruto's life as all he knew he was, and this Ba-chan of yours is she the lady that the boggart turned into? Yeah, she is, and when she realizes how I grew up and after winning the bet she gave me a teary hug, Naruto said. So that's why that is your greatest fear. She was the first one to actually care for you, Remus said, understanding Naruto a bit more than he asked, ready to try again. Naruto quickly finishes the biscuit off then said, let's do this. So they go in position and Remus said, wand at the ready, once again he opened the chest. When the boggart Dementor came out Naruto said, expecto patronum, but once again nothing happens but not one to give up, he said, expecto patronum. This time the room had a little tremor, then a silvery white glow came out of his wand and formed a shield, then he make the boggart go back into the chest while Remus was laughing. Once the boggart was in the chest, Rems quickly shuts it and said, well done Naruto, very well done, you cast it a lot faster than I anticipated, though everyone that knows you said not to underestimate you. I am starting to see why. Well, I was known as the unpredictable ninja for a reason, Naruto said. I can believe that, Remus said, then hands Naruto another biscuit and said, here, take and let's call it a day. Might be a good idea seeing as I need to go, Naruto said as he noticed what the time is. What do you need to do? Remus said. It's the day that Buckbeak gets his hearing and I want to know what they said, Naruto said. Well then you better bet going, Remus said, then Harry nodded in thanks then left. As Naruto was walking to meet his friends, he hears Ron shout, unless you've been ripped to shreds. Naruto walked over to see Ron and Hermione arguing, then he asked, what's going on here? It's not important, just Ronald losing his rat again, Hermione answered. I haven't lost anything, your cat killed it, Ron said. That's rubbish, Hermione said. Look Ron, I am not in the mood for this right now, so fuck off, Naruto said while glaring at Ron, making the boy run away. Then he turned to his friend and said, so are you ready? Then they all walked down to meet Hagrid. When they met up with Hagrid, he was at the lake skimming stones with a solemn look on his face. Then Neville asked, it didn't go well, did it? Well, at the start each of the committee members took turns stating why they were there. Then I took the stand and said my piece, Buckbeak was a good hippogriff, always cleaning his feathers, that Naruto owns him. And then one of the Aurors took the stand and said that I told the class what to do and what not to do. And then after that Lucius Malfoy got up, and do I need to say more? No you don't, and knowing that Bakabi brought the committee, Naruto said. So what did he say anyway? Hermione asked. He said that Buckbeak was a deadly and dangerous creature that would kill ya as soon as he lays eyes on ya, Hagrid said. So what did he ask for? Naruto asked, knowing it wouldn't be good. He asked for the worst, Hagrid said. Then he skimmed a stone and said, though I am not sacked because I did tell the class not to do it. BTU Buckbeak's been sentenced to death. Then he started to cry, making the teens console the friendly half-giant. After a bit of time had gone by, they noticed it was getting late, so they left and went to bed. In the night Naruto was looking at the map he got from the twins when he noticed a name in it and said, that's impossible, how can Peter be alive when the new papers say Sirius killed him? Then he got up and the snake appeared in his eyes and he turned invisible and he walks out the common room just before Ron woke up due to a nightmare. As Naruto was walking in down a hall visible with a luminous spell activated to look at the map when one of the paintings said, put that light out. Sorry, I am infuriating, sorting that should be impossible, Naruto said before looking at the map again to see he was right on top of the Peter tag and thinks, something not right here, this says I am on top of Peter but I can see him. Then he sees Peter tag turn the corner all the while the paintings was complaining about Naruto's spell. Then he sees Snape coming, so acting quickly Naruto said, mischief managed, and the ink disappeared. Then he deactivated the light spell. For the moment it was pitch black, activated the snake talisman and disappeared just in time for Snape to use the light spell. Then he looks around, then he said, who goes there, but got nothing in response. As the moments went by Lupin appeared and he asked, what going on here? I saw a light coming down this hallway, Snape replied. Whoever it is, they are probably returning to their dorm room as we speak, Lupin said as he too looked around. Must have, Snape said before leaving. Once he was sure Snape was gone, Lupin looked around and said, you are in the clear, Naruto. Naruto appeared before Lupin and asked, how did you know I was here? Remus looked at Naruto and said, I didn't. Damn, I shouldn't have done that, Naruto mumbled. Remus chucked then said, come with me and you can tell me why you were wandering around the castle. Then the professor led Naruto to his office. Once Naruto and Remus got to the office, then the professor turns to Naruto and asks, so Naruto, care to tell me why you were out of your dorm after curfew? Would you believe me if I said looking for something that might be possible, Naruto said. And what would that be? Remus asked. Naruto said nothing but pulled out the blank Marauder's map, which caused Remus' eyes to go wide and asked, is that what I think it is? If you're thinking something you two San and Sirius and Peter created who knows when, then yes, it is, Naruto said as he gives the paper parchment to the professor. The professor looks at it for a while, then he said, you do know I have to confiscate this right now, and Naruto just nods. Then the professor asked, how did you know I was one of creators, Naruto? Easy, I call you Uncle Mooney and one of the names on the map is Mooney, Naruto said. True, but what if there was someone else called Mooney, Remus said. And that's when 2 and 3 fall into it because it's a map of Hogwarts and you attended to another as there are 4 names on it Mooney which is you, Prongs, Padfoot and Wormtail and while you was at school you mostly hung out with 2 Sans Sirius and Peter, Naruto explained. You were one smart boy, Remus said now truly understanding why Lily and James told him not to underestimate him even when he was a baby then he asked, so who did you see? That's the thing Professor the newspapers said that this guy did but according to that map Peter lives, Naruto said. I see why you was out of bed but it was reckless of you Naruto because you have no idea what he is capable of, Remus said which caused Naruto gain a cold look as he looks at the man before and he flinches and he thinks, is this what ninjas are capable of able to stop someone with just a look? Naruto with his still cold look said, I am not worried about him seeing as he is a coward and know this about me, I will never worry about dealing with anyone who is so weak-willed they will sell out their friends without hesitation, and to add empathies on its Naruto eyes was red. Understood. Remus said sweating a little and he could feel his inner wolf cowering and thinks, wow was not expecting that. Then he said, well thanks for bringing this to my attention Naruto and you better get back to bed. No worries Professor, Naruto said before turning to walk out the door. Just as Naruto was about to open the door Remus said, oh Naruto what would you have done if you had found Peter if the map was telling the truth? Naruto turns to face the professor and said, I would have places the horse talisman inside of him and then used him as a human punching bag for a few days then hand him over to Amelia Bones or to Tonks. Then he turns to exit then room before quickly glancing back then said, oh and Professor I believe the map was telling the truth about Peter because Peter's body was never recovered because the first rule we learn as shinobi is unless you have proof always assume they are alive, then he leaves the office and activating the snake talisman. Remus sits there for a few minutes thinking about what Naruto said and picks up the map and looks at him and said to himself, could he be right could Peter have been alive all this time? The next day Naruto was in his divination class falling asleep as the professor was examining Hermione and telling her she didn't have the sight and unknowingly insulted the teen girl which caused Hermione stands up and walk out the room and knocks the crystal ball of the table then the professor said, was it something I said? Well seeing as you basically told a teen girl that she was spiritually older than you or so yes, I would say so, Naruto said not caring as he kept looking out the door his girlfriend walked out off. After as everyone was walking out Naruto was walking next to Artoria and Neville when he spots the crystal ball, and he picks it up then his friend and fiancé and said, you guys go on ahead I need to return this, then he starts to walk up the stairs. Once he was back up the stairs and, in the classroom, he sees an empty stand and places the ball on it then as he begins to walk away, he sees a man's head appear in the ball and he begins to hear a ghostly whisper saying, Naruto Potter. Then all of a sudden the professor places a hand on his shoulder and turns him around and he was about to say something when he noticed there was something off with the professor and as if on K the professor said in an extremely dry tone within multiple voices and a far off look, he will return tonight he who betrayed his friends whose heart rots with murder shall break free innocent blood shall be spilt and servant and master shall be reunited once more. Then she coughs and then said as she sees Naruto, oh I'm so sorry dear boy did you say something? No professor was just returning the ball Hermione knocked out the class, Naruto said before walking out the room once more. As Naruto was walking back down the stairs Kurama was at the bottom and she said, well that was spooky. Naruto nods and hear Lily say, yeah, and now we know when this servant will appear. Once lessons was done for the day Naruto Hermione Artoria Neville was heading to Hagrid's house when that see the executioner sharpening his axe then and on the last stretch Hermione said, I can believe they are going to kill Buckbeak it's just horrible. I know, and I am still appalled to find out that the so-called pure blood have forgotten their root my father and Professor Merlin would be appalled to how the magic society is now, Artoria said in disgust. However what no one noticed was Naruto looks back and see a familiar bushy brown hair before it disappeared then think, so who sent me and Hermione back in time something must have gone wrong from here to the time they came from. And when he turns back around he sees Hermione with her wand at Malfoy's throat then he said as he walks closer, Hermione he's not worth dirtying your hand for. Hermione reluctantly lowers her wand which makes Malfoy starts to laugh but was quickly shut back up as the teen which quickly turns back around and punches Malfoy in the nose making Malfoy and his lackeys run back to the school. Once the trio was gone Neville said, man what a wuss. Well that's what happens when no one teaches you to stand on your own the slightest confrontation and you will be running for the hill, Naruto said. That felt good, Hermione said when Naruto looked at her. I bet it does. Artoria said with a smile then the group of 4 continued to wait to see Hagrid. After getting the pleasantries out of the Hagrid looked out his window to look at the hippogriff and said, look he loves the smell of the trees when the wind blows though them. Naruto walks up behind him and said, I am sorry Hagrid if I had got to you sooner this might not have happened. Don't worry about it you had a plan which might not have worked in the end, Hagrid said. That's true with asshole senior buying the committee off, Naruto said. Naruto. Hermione said. Naruto ignores Hermione and asks, is there anything we can do? No, there isn't. Even if we set him free, they will know it was me and then Dumbledore would get into trouble. Hagrid said, then goes on to say he's coming down. Dumbledore, he wants to be with me when they, bit stops. We get it, Hagrid, Naruto said. Yeah, Artoria said. Great man Dumbledore, a great man. Hagrid said before there was a knock at his door and Hagrid walks to opens it revealing Ron. Then he said, "Ah, Ron, thank you for coming. I have something for you, so please come in." And when Ron steps in, the half-giant closes the door and walks over to a counter and opens a tin and pulls out a rat. Upon seeing the rat, Ron gets up and takes the rat while saying, "Scabbers, you're alive. You need to keep a closer eye on your pet, Ron," Hagrid said. "Looks like you owe someone an apology," Hermione said. "Right, the next time I see you, little demon, I will let him know," Ron said. Before anyone could say anything, the pot that was on the table suddenly broke and Hagrid said, "Blimey, what on earth was that?" Hermione inspected the table and sees a stone and said, "How?" "Ow," Naruto said as he rubs his head to look outside to see who threw whatever hit him while thinking, there had better be a good reason that myself or Hermione to throw whatever it was. Then upon looking outside he said, "Okay, I will forgive whoever it was." "Whoever what was?" Hagrid said as he walked over, then said, "Oh crikey." Then he said as quickly covers the animals he has, "It's late and nearly dark. You shouldn't be here. If someone sees you outside this time of night, you all will be in trouble." "Hey, you called be here," Ron said. Hagrid ignores Ron and said, "Particularly you, Naruto," and points to Naruto. Then there was knock at the door, making Hagrid to say, "With you in a moment." Then he turns to his company and whispers, "What are you waiting for? Out the back quickly." And they wait out by the door while Hermione looks to make sure the coast was clear, and once it was, they made a break for it and they hid behind some pumpkins. As they were waiting, they heard something snap, making Hermione look back but saw nothing, and Naruto said as he looked as well but sees some clothing that looked like Hermione's. Having a feeling on what's going on, Naruto said, "There is nothing there, we have to get going, Hermione." "But I thought I just saw," Hermione said. "Hermione, we have to go," Neville said. Then they left. When the group got to the top of the hill, they Ron, who still walked on, turned to see the executioner walking to the hippogriff and then lifting his axe up and swings it down, causing Hermione to please her head onto Naruto's shoulder and cry. They heard Ron say, "Ow, Scabbers, why did you do that?" Naruto turned to his friends and said, "Come on, let's get help Ron get the rat." "And why should we help him?" Hermione asked. "So he doesn't blame Crookshanks for the rat going miss again," Naruto replied. "Well, he does have point there, because every time Scabbers has gone missing he has blamed your cat, Hermione," Neville said. "All right, let's help him, but I am not happy about it," Hermione said. "Didn't expect you to be him, but it's still the right thing," Naruto said. Then they all ran after Ron, who was running after his rat. When they managed to catch up to Ron, he had caught Scabbers, but he was near the weeping willow and Naruto said, "Oh come on." Then he shouted, "Ron, run." Ron looks up and then points to and said, "Behind you," making the group of four look behind them to see a big black dog growling. "So now he shows up around time to get some answers," Naruto said, about to take a step. "Naruto, wait, let's see what he wants," Lily said. "It's the Grim," Ron said. Then the dog charges and Naruto unconsciously moves to protect Hermione and Artoria, but the dog jumps over them and goes for Ron and bits his leg and drags the boy to a hole that was under the weeping willow. All the while Ron was shouting, "Help me." "Well, that just happened," Neville said. "So why would you think the Grim attacked Ron?" Tonks asked as she walked over. "Why are you here, Tonks?" Neville asked. "I heard screaming and came to investigate," Tonks replied. Then she turns to Naruto and asked, "Now about my question, Naruto." "I don't think it's Ron. Sirius was after Nim," Naruto replied. "Then why would he take Ron?" Tonks asked before blinking a few, then said, "Wait, you mean to tell me that the Grim was Sirius?" "Yep, and I think he took Ron because he was in the way for something else, and I think I know why," Naruto said before he walked over to the will and acting quickly got in the hole before getting hit. Then he pops his head out and asked, "You lot coming, or am I doing that adventure alone?" Then everyone followed Naruto, all the while dodging the tree's attacks, and when everyone was inside the hole, Naruto said, "Glad have trustworthy friends. Well, someone has to keep you out of trouble. Well, at least try to, and I will go first," Tonks said before pulling her wand out and walks down the underground walkway with the rest of the group. As the group down the underground corridor, Tonks glances back to Naruto and said, "So Naruto, you said that you think you know the reason why Sirius took Ron?" Naruto nods, then said, "I think he is after Peter." Tonks's eyes go wide, then she asked, "When you say Peter, do you mean Peter Pettigrew?" When Naruto nods, she said, "But the reports say that Sirius killed him, seeing as they only found a finger," Naruto said. "That's right. How do you know that?" Tonks said. What did you think that I wouldn't looks up thinks that's lead to me being placed at my Oba-chan's, Naruto said. Tonks thinks about it then she said, when you put it like that I supposed not. Also Ba-chan told me, Naruto said. Anyway why do you think that Peter is still alive, Tonks asked. Well for one in my past life there was one rule when it comes to dealing with the dead and that is unless you see the body itself never believe they are dead, Naruto said. You know you and one of my senior whose name is Moody will get along perfectly as he is always saying constant vigilance, Tonks said as she thinks to all the times she met with the older or sound advise as you never know where your enemy might be, Naruto said as he thinks back to when he was killed in his past life. Now that's settled where do you think this tunnel is taking us, Hermione asked. I don't know the location, but I do know that it is leading us to get my godfather to be free, Naruto said. After a few more minutes of walking the group entered a shabby-looking hut then Neville went over to a board window and asked, is this where I think it is? If you are thinking the Shrieking Shack then you are right, Hermione said as she looked around. Naruto then goes up the stairs and he hears Ron screaming and he said, I swear he has no tolerance to pain. Then he walked into a room and saw Ron on a bed who was pointing into a corner of the room, and he asked, what now? He is the dog he is an animagus, Ron said in a scared tone. Naruto turns to see his friends and loved one enter the room, and a scruffy-looking man walked from behind the door then he turns to Ron and said, I already knew that who the dog was Ron. Then he turns to the man and said, I have to say after 12 years the first thing you do is try and scare your godson what kind of godfather are you serious? Sorry about that but one will die tonight, Sirius said. Well then let's hope nothing goes wrong, Naruto said as he thinks back to the prophecy he got from the divination professor. What not going to try and kill me seeing as I am the one that has supposedly killed your parents Naruto, Sirius asked. Not really as I like to get the truth for what happened myself as people can lie to me for their own purpose, Naruto said. You're not as blind as I thought, Sirius said. Well there's that and I actually knew that you were innocent for a year already, Naruto said. And why didn't you say anything, Sirius said. Because no one will believe who told me, Naruto said. Oh and who told you that, Sirius asked. Naruto glances back at Ron shrugs a little then looks at Sirius with a smirk then said shadow clone jutsu then another Naruto appeared then the clone said henge then he changed into Lily. Sirius's eyes went wide and then he said, I see what you mean if that is real and how do I know that she is? Lily walked up to Sirius and whispered something in his ear then he gained a little blush said, okay she is real. Just like that you are going to trust whatever that thing is, Ron said. Well she just whispered something in my ear that only a few people know, Sirius said to Ron and the turns to face his godson and asked, so what do you plan to do now? Before Naruto-ku's answer Rimus walks in and said, Sirius black looking rather ragged aren't we finally the flesh reflects the madness within. You would know all about the madness within wouldn't you Rimus, Sirius said. Remus then turns to Naruto and the others and stops and glances at Lily said, this has to be a boggart. Nope she is real, Sirius said. So you were telling the truth about Lily back in the train, Rimus said as she remembers the chat Naruto Daphne Tracy and Hermione was having on their journey to school. Of course I was how else would I have known that Sirius was innocent, and that Peter was the asshole that betrayed Ka-chan and Tu-san, Naruto said. Well you do have a point, and I have to thank you Naruto for that chat as I did thought that Peter was dead, Rimus said. That's right and he is in this room right now, Sirius said. Lily slaps her head then said, of course how did I forget that just like James and Sirius Peter was also an animagus a garden rat. Snape who had rushed into the room said Expelliarmus then he said, vengeance is sweet. Well that's just great the one person that would let his past grievances with Sirius show up had to and wouldn't listen to us, Naruto said. Actually Severus we are in the investigation, Nymphadora said. You stay out of this, Snape said then he points his wand at Remus and said, I told Dumbledore you were helping a friend into the castle and here is the proof. Brilliant Snape you have once again put your keen mind to the task and came to the wrong conclusion now as you don't mind me, and Remus have some business to attend to, Sirius said. Severus then put high wand into Sirius's throat and said, give me on reason I beg you. Don't be a fool Severus, Remus said. It's not his fault he is one, Sirius said. And now I am seeing why Petunia started to hate me after I started to come here, Lily said then she turns to her son then said, do something. Right, Naruto said before the pig talisman appeared in his eyes and he blasted Severus into the bed. Naruto why did you do that? Artoria asked. You just attacked a teacher, Hermione said mirroring Artoria's thoughts. Because I asked him to. I wanted some payback for what he put my sister though, Lily said then she looks at Nymphadora, do you mind getting Scabbers? What why do you want Scabbers he has been in my family for, Ron asked, said. 12 years, Sirius said. Then he asked, that is a really long lifespan for a common garden rat, isn't it? He is right, Ron. In the Muggle world a rat can live on average 3 years, 5 at most, Hermione said. And he is also missing a toe, Sirius asked. Yeah, so, Ron said. And in the reports all they found of Pier was a finger, Nymphadora said as she connects the dots. Then she turns to Sirius and said, I get what is going on here and I will do the spell, but you step away. Then she turns to Remus and said, Remus, make sure he doesn't do anything. Who are you to tell me what to do? Sirius asked. I am Nymphadora Tonks, or in training, Nymphadora said. Tonks are your parents Andromeda and Ted? Sirius asked. That's right, how do you know that? Tonks asked. No surprise you don't know, seeing as your mother was kicked out for marring a Muggleborn, but your mother was a black one. Act 1 plan to rectify when I am able to, Sirius said, socking Nymphadora. Don't we have more pressing matter to sort out? Lily said. Oh yeah, Tonks said, then walks over to Ron and grabs the rat, then walks over to the piano and placed it on the piano. Then he scurries of the moment he had a chance to, and with Remus, Sirius and Tonks firing spells at him, and just as he was about to just into a hole in the wall he was hit by the spell and he turned into a man that was very short, taller than Harry or Hermione, with grubby skin, small watery eyes, and a pointed nose, causing the man to crash through the wall. Then Remus and Sirius pulled the man onto his feet. Th4RN man acted like a rat for a few seconds before looked at former friends. Then he said, Remus, Sirius, my old friends. Then he bolted. BTU Sirius and Remus stopped him and pushed him back. Then Peter looked around and stopped at Naruto and said, Naruto, look at you now. I am wondering, as Lily cheated on your father, as you have nothing in common with James. We was the best of friends, making Naruto eyes go crimson. How dare you speak to Naruto? Sirius said. Lily sees Naruto's eyes change. Then she nudges Hermione and whispers, you might want to calm Naruto down. Then she looked over to Naruto and saw his eyes and walks over to him and grabs his hand as Artoria grabbed the other. Then she turns her attention to Peter. Then she said, if you know what's good for you, Peter, you better stop talking, Peter, especially about James after what you have done. That's right, you sold James and Lily to Voldemort, Remus said. I didn't mean to the Dark Lord. You have no idea the weapon he possesses, Peter said. Then he turns to Sirius and said, ask yourself, Sirius, what would you have done? I would have died rather than betray my friends, Sirius said as Peter went under the piano and was heading to the door if Naruto hadn't already been there. Then Peter went up to Naruto, then said, James wouldn't have wanted me killed. He would have spared me. He would have shown N equals me mercy. He is right, Naruto. James was a man that was about justice, Lily said. Well, I might be my father's son, but I am not my father, and normally I show mercy, but for you I have none, Naruto said with ice in his tone, making Peter back away. You should have realized, Peter, that if Voldemort didn't kill you, we would have, Sirius said as he and Remus had a wand pointed at Peter. Wait, Naruto said. Naruto, this man, Remus started. You don't need to remind me what this man is, Remus, and I am not showing mercy. I say that we tack him back to the castle and hand him over to the Dementors, giving him serious punishment, Naruto said before turning to Tonks and asked, does that seem fair, Nymphadora? That sounds good. Also, don't call me that, Tonks said. Come on, let's get you to the infirmary, Naruto said as he walks over to Ron and pucks him up with an arm over his shoulder. Then Sirius walked over help. Then the group walked out of the shrinking shack and Lily dispersed the clone. As the group was walking down the tunnel, Sirius said, I am sorry about the bite. I reckon that twinges a bit. A bit, you almost tore my leg off, Ron said. Oh, don't be dramatic, Naruto said, annoyed about Ron. I was going for the rat. Normally I have a sweet disposition as a dog. As a fact, James suggested that I make the change permanent a few times. The tail I could live with, but the fleas, they're murder, Sirius said. I don't think it would have matter about the change being permanent with me around, Naruto said, thinking about the power of the monkey. You're right, you always have been known as unpredictable, Sirius said, thinking about the times he babysat Naruto. Then he said, even as a baby you were pulling pranks on us with that mysterious power of yours. Thanks, Naruto said with pride. Anyway, I don't see why you are friends with this guy, Sirius said, gesturing to Ron. I am not. We was walking back to the castle because we were at Hagrid's talking about something when Ron showed up because Hagrid summoned him because he found Peter or Scabbers, but for the first 2 months we were, but he insulted Hermione because she helped him and was smarter, Naruto explained. Ah, Sirius said, then taking a quick glance at Hermione, then said, I have to say she seems to be a good witch. One of the best, and my girlfriend, Naruto said. 3rd year in and you already have a girlfriend, Sirius said. Oh, I have 2 fiancés and 4 girlfriends, and you have met 3 of them, Naruto said. Wait, you mean to say the 3 ladies here are in a relationship with you and you have 3 more, Sirius said. Yep, though I haven't seen my other fiancé, Naruto said. And why not? Sirius asked. Because her name is Fleur Delacour, Naruto said, making Sirius's eyes go wide. Ah, I see why you haven't met her yet, Sirius said. Yeah, Which is why I am waiting to become of age so I can go to France and meet them. Naruto said. Then he chuckles a bit, then said, though with my luck at times we might meet before then. Once outside it was already night, and they put Ron on a stone and Sirius walked over to a place that had a great view of the castle, and once everyone was out Naruto said, I am going over to talk to Sirius. Then he walks over to Sirius. It's beautiful, isn't it? Sirius asked as Naruto stood behind him. It is. This place might make a good picnic spot, Naruto said. I will never forget the first time I walked through those doors, Sirius said. I don't think anyone would, Naruto said. You're properly right, but it would be nice to do it again as a free man, Sirius said. And you will, Naruto said. That was a noble thing you did back there. He doesn't deserve it, Sirius said. You're right, he doesn't, but for this sort of thing the best revenge is to make those who wronged us regret what they did, Naruto said. Sounds like you have been wronged before, Sirius asked. I have, more than you think, Naruto said as he thinks back to all the hurt he has been through. Then he said, I'm no saint, Sirius. I will give one chance for those who have done bad things if I feel they can chance. And do you think Peter will chance? Sirius said. Naruto shakes his head then said, no I don't, but there are 3 reasons why I want him alive. The first, I think that they get what they deserve. You was going to get the Dementor's kiss for what he did, so I think it's right that he gets what your punishment was. Sirius thinks about it then said, you are right, and what of the other 2? The second reason is that I don't think that Toussaint would want his 2 best friends to become killers for something stupid like revenge, and the last reason is that if he dies then the truth dies with him and the ministry will say that I coerce the others to say that it was Peter and not you, seeing as I am dating 3 of them and friends with another, and the last don't like me, Naruto said as Peter was being led out of the tunnel begging. I see. It takes a great mind to remain calm to think when in a situation like that, Sirius said. I have had a lot of practice, Naruto said. Seeing as you know that I am your godfather if you want a different home. If you had asked me that last year, I would have taken you up on that offer, but before I left for this year Oba Petunia was going through something, and I want to be there for her, Naruto said. Sirius opened his mouth to say something, but Hermione shouted, Naruto, making both male to turn. Then Hermione pointed in the distance. Realizing what is happening, Naruto said, oh for fuck's sake, off all the nights you had to do this, it had to be on a full moon. Then he and Sirius saw Remus turning to face the full. Then he said, when this night is over I am going to kick your ass so bad many witches will have a hard time fixing you. Now is not the time, Sirius said as he and Naruto rushed over to Remus, and he said, Remus my old friend, have you taken your potion tonight? But he got no response as Remus started to shake, but Sirius continued, you know the man you truly are, Remus, this heart is where you truly live. Then he places a hand on where Remus's heart is and said, here, but Remus dropped the wand and Peter picked it up. Naruto sees what Peter was doing and said Expelliarmus, knocking the wand wound of Peter's hand, but the man just smiled and transformed into a rat and ran off. Then he said, I will deal with that later, and backed up with everyone as they watched Remus transform. As the transformation was taking place, Sirius was shouting, run, and once it was transformation was complete the wolf got out of Sirius's hold and sent him flying in the process. The wolf then started to whimper, and Hermione slowly walked over to the transformed professor, and Ron said, Hermione, I know we ain't friends, but that is a bad idea. After taking a few steps forward, Hermione said, Professor, and the wolf looked up while slowly stopped whimpering before looking at Hermione, and the teen girl said, Professor Lupin. Then all of a sudden, the wolf looked mean and started to howl, making Hermione take a few steps back, then walked over to the group. Nice doggy, Ron kept saying as Severus came out of the tunnel. Once out of the tunnel, Severus looked at Naruto completely missing the werewolf and said, there you are, Potter. Then turns around when he hear a growl. Then the group was knocked down by the wolf's swipe and was about to attack again if Sirius in his dog form hadn't attacked the wolf. Then they growled at each other before attacking each other, and after 2 rounds Sirius ran off, making the wolf follow. Sirius, Naruto said before he followed. Come back here, Potter, Severus said. When Naruto was close enough, he see Wolf lift up Sirius and threw him at a rock and was making his ran over with the rooster in his eyes as he lifted up a few small rocks and lobbed them at the wolf, making the wolf turn and look at Naruto, and he said, if you want to fight then fight me, which the wolf as about to when they heard a howl, making the wolf stop and Naruto go pale as said he and the wolf looked at the same direction. That better not be you, Hermione. Then there was another howl, making the wolf go in the direction of the howl, and once the wolf was gone Naruto hears Sirius whine and whimper that he looks to see Sirius still in his dog for walking away before stumbling and turns back inhuman and stumbles away. Then Naruto follows. Naruto follows Sirius to a lake and sees him collapsed by the water, so he rushes over and turns. No, Sirius, you better not be dead, otherwise I will find a way to bring you back and then kill you myself. Then he noticed the air going cold and the pond freeze. Then he says, oh, for fuck's sake, of all the times for them to appear they chose now to appear. Then he looks up to see tones of Dementors circling him and Sirius. Then one of them flies down only to be intercepted by a bat Shadow Con, and Naruto said, what the, but I didn't summon a bat Con. Then Naruto summoned more Batcons. To keep the Dementors busy as Naruto pulls out his wand then said Expecto Patronum summoned the silverly white shield which took out a few of the Batcon then thought. Note to self, do not use that spell with shadow cons around. And the spell faded due to Naruto being distracted and one of the Dementors went and attacked Naruto and one after another attacked him and Sirius. After a few minutes of being attacked they stopped and Sirius stopped breathing and a small glowing orb came out of Sirius's mouth then Naruto looked up to see a silverly white fox with 10 tails the size of a deer then Naruto said with a smile. So the Patronum spell manifests as an animal spirit. Then from the fox there was a pulse which sent the Dementors flying and as the pulses continued the Dementors flew away then the glowing orb went back into Sirius's mouth and Sirius started to breath again then a ninja con appeared behind Naruto and covered his mouth as Naruto whirled. Goes dark he sees the fox disappearing. After a couple of hours Naruto was coming to by hearing Hermione saying, Naruto. When Naruto was fully awake, he asked, where am I? In the infirmary, Artoria said. Wonder how I got there. Naruto asked no one as he remembered what happened. What? Hermione asked. I saw someone, and they sent the Dementors flying. Naruto said then he asked, what about Sirius? I am sorry, but they have captured Sirius and at any minute the Dementors are going to perform the kiss, Hermione said. Then let's go and save him, Naruto said as he sits up just then the doors opened and Dumbledore walked in, and Naruto thought, great what does he want? Hermione then walked up to the headmaster and said, Headmaster you have to stop them they've got the wrong man. They are right it was Scabbers who did it, Ron said from the bed opposite from Naruto's bed with his foot in a cast. Scabbers? Dumbledore asked. He's my rat sir he's not really a rat he was my brother Percy's rat, Ron said. As Ron was mumbling Hermione said the point is we know the truth, Hermione said. And if you need validation just ask Neville, Artoria or Tonks, Naruto said. Please believe us, Artoria said. I do but unfortunately the words of 5 13-year-old witches and wizards and a trainee auror can convince few others, Dumbledore said then he walks over to Ron and said a child's voice however honest and true is meaningless to those who have forgotten to listen. And places his hand on Ron's casted foot making the teen boy whimper in pain just then the bell chimes and Dumbledore gains a strange look then said as he walks over to door. Mysterious thing time powerful and when meddled with dangerous Sirius Black is in the topmost cell of the Dark Tower, then he turns and said. You know the laws Miss Granger you must not been seen and you will do well I feel to return before this last chime if not the consequences are too ghastly to discuss but if you succeed tonight more than one innocent life may be spared. Then he turns before facing Hermione once more then said. 3 turns should do it I think. Then he walks away then as he closes the doors he stopped and turns back in and said. Oh by the way when in doubt I dins retracing my steps to be a wise place to begin good luck, then he closes the door. What the bloody hell was that about? Ron asked. Nothing for you to concern yourself with Ron, Naruto said then turns to Artoria as Hermione pulls out a necklace and places it around him and said. I think it would be best if you stay here. Then Hermione does something with a turner with an hourglass and as she spins it the world around them begins to rewind. Hermione looks at the time then said, 7:30, then she turns to Naruto and asked, where were we at 7:30? Naruto looks at Hermione then thought, so this how it happened, then said, going to Hagrid's. Come on and we can been seen, Hermione said as she drags Naruto with her. Too late for that, Naruto mumbled before he and Hermione started to run then as they was about to cross the Naruto then stopped Hermione then said, wait you forgot about the executioner. Then he picks her up and stealthily crosses the courtyard and as they stood by the doorway to Hagrid's Naruto asked, so what is that thing? Hermione then pulls Naruto and hides and notices the younger Naruto looking at where they are then said, this is a time turner McGonagall gave it to me first term. So that's how you have been getting to your lessons all year and how I sense myself, Naruto said. Wait you knew, Hermione asked. Well not per se but when I was practicing sage mode during classes I sensed your aura several places in the school and your aura is an older than it should be, Naruto said. So when you close your eyes in class that in you training to be a sage, Hermione said. Yeah, Naruto replied. Dumbledore wanted us to return to this moment clearly something happened he wants us to change, Hermione said. More like he wanted us to do something that has happened or is going to happen, Naruto said then he quickly grabs Hermione and without hesitation shoves her out the window and jumps put after. What do you mean? Hermione asked then realized that Naruto looked back then said, you saw us earlier didn't you? That's the thing about being a ninja you're observant and there are other things going on, Naruto said as he remembered other things that is going to happen. As they saw themselves walk down the path to Hagrid's and they walked over to the stones and Naruto said, so that what's going on here? Of course Dumbledore said that more than one innocent life could be spared, Hermione said. And I think he is up to something being straightforward like that, Naruto said. You're properly right about that, Hermione said as she knew something was going on. Then they headed down the path, then snuck into the pumpkin patch. After a few seconds of waiting, they see Dumbledore, the minister, and the executioner walking down the path. Then Naruto said, "Here they come." Then they moved around not to be seen by the three older wizards. "I have to say you're taking this well," Hermione said. "Well, I have watched a lot of movies and shows to know the rules about messing with time," Naruto said. "That's good," Hermione said. Then she watches the three wizards walk closer, then said, "Fudge is coming." Then she turns to the hut and said, "And we aren't leaving." Naruto thinks back to this moment, then said, "That's because we need to get one of us to look outside." Realizing what Naruto was getting up, Hermione then said, "You're right." Then she looked at a stone that she picked up while she was at Hagrid's. When the pot broke, then she picked it up and threw it, which broke the pot. Then she picked up another one and threw it, and it hit Naruto's head. Then he turned to look outside, then said something, and Hagrid walked over, then started to cover the animals. Then Hermione looked at Naruto, then said, "You knew that I threw that?" "Well, it was you or me. Remember, I knew we were here," Naruto said before grabbing Hermione by her hand and pulls her into the forest just in time to see themselves and friends come out of hut, and they hide behind two trees. As the duo hides, Hermione moves a branch, then said, "Is that really what my hair looks like from the back?" "Properly," Naruto said as he looks at Hermione's ass. "You don't know because you are most likely looking at my ass," Hermione said. "No comment," Naruto said, looking away. "That's what I thought," Hermione said before she snaps a twig. Then she quickly hides again. Then they hear their conversation before Naruto saying about going, and when they were gone, Naruto and Hermione came out. Then Hermione said, "You know, I am glad you knew we was here, even if it's against the rules." "Yeah, well, there are a lot of rules I don't really follow," Naruto said as they walked to pumpkins. After knowing it is clear, Hermione said, "Now Naruto, go." As Naruto walked to Buckbeak, the monkey talisman appeared in his eyes, and he turned into a hippogriff with yellow feathers and fur. Then he said with a bow, "Hello Buckbeak, it's nice to meet you again." Buckbeak looks at Naruto, then bows, then said, "I fear you are mistaken, we have never met before." "I fear you are mistaken by that. I am the boy that you met in the forest at the start of the school year and led road around the school, and the boy that saved the boy that insulted you," Naruto said. "Now I remember, but you were human, now you are a hippogriff," Buckbeak said. "That's because I have a magical stone inside me that allows me to transform into any animal, and right now, I am here to save you, so come with me," Naruto said. "What would happen to Hagrid if I go with you?" Buckbeak asked. "Nothing, as he is inside his hut talking to the headmaster and the people what wants to kill you for acting out because someone insulted your pride, but if you want, I can assure Hagrid that you are safe," Naruto said. Buckbeak thinks about it, then said, "Very well, I will go with you if you keep your word." "No need to worry about that, for I always keep my promises, for that is my ninja way," Naruto said. Then he turns back to human, then walks up to Buckbeak and unties the chain and pulls it and leads Buckbeak into the woods just in time to see Dumbledore, Fudge, and the executioner walked out of Hagrid's hut. Once they were inside the woods, Hermione said, "You know, I forgot you can change like that." "Well, I don't show off what I can do," Naruto said. Then he hands the chain to Hermione and said, "I am going to some food for Buckbeak, so head the next spot." Then the snake appeared in his eyes, and he disappeared. Hermione was running in the wood with Buckbeak. Naruto appeared next to her with the ferrets around his neck, and she said, "Didn't take you long." "Well, I would have been here sooner, but had to make sure Minister Baka wasn't around," Naruto said. Then they stopped running. Then he places the ferrets on the ground, then said, "Well, that's one innocent life saved. Time for number 2. "Yeah, let's go and save Sirius," Hermione said before she and Naruto ran off, leaving Buckbeak. As the duo got to a spot where they can see the Weeping Willow, Hermione said, "Look at Professor Lupin." Then when Remus entered the tunnel, they saw Snape, and Hermione said, "And Snape's coming too." "Now it's just a waiting game," Naruto said as he sat down and got in a meditative position. "Yeah," Hermione said. Then she asked, "What are you doing?" "Seeing as we need to wait, I thought it would be good to train in the Sage mode," Naruto said. "What is Sage mode?" Hermione asked. "It's kinda like how you as a Neko drew in the magic from nature and use it for your magic, but I add it to my chakra, but there is a catch," Naruto said. "And what is the catch?" Hermione asked. "I can't move as I drew in the magic," Naruto said. "Well, that doesn't sound bad," Hermione said. "And I need to be careful on how much I take in, otherwise too much and I will turn to stone," Naruto said. "That's some risk," Hermione said. "But the reward if I do it right is enhanced strength, speed, and durability," Naruto said as he opened his eyes, which was now toad-like. "And I take it your eye being toad-like is a side effect of the toad summons?" Hermione asked. "Yeah, and I am, for if I had some other summons, I would gain something from that contract to show that I am a sage ninja," Naruto said before showing Hermione what he meant by the trade. "Wow, I see what you mean, the risk is worth it, but promise me one thing," Hermione said. "No need to worry, Hermione, I will use Sage mode as a last resort," Naruto said as he leans in and kisses his girlfriend in the lips. So what else happened to make you think that this happened? Hermione asked. Well, as I was trying to save Sirius by the lake, a Dementor when they first showed up went to attack him but was intercepted by a Batcon, and the spell Patronus Charm manifested a silvery white 10-tailed fox across from the lake and sent pulses out which made the Dementors fly away, Naruto said. I see, and you didn't think it could have been anyone else, Hermione said. Nope, seeing as Mum had told me that Dad Patronus Charm was of a deer which was also his animagus form, Naruto said as he and Lily had talked about James before. I see what you mean. When you put those facts together you came to the conclusion as to we was sent back in time, Hermione said. Then she said, and here I thought I was doing a good job following the rule of not being seen, but turns out I have been seen all year. Well, to be fair, I did have help with the toads teaching me Sage Mode, and if I didn't have that then I wouldn't have noticed you being in two places at once without a duplication spell or the shadow clone jutsu until a few hours ago, Naruto said. Well, you do have a point there, Hermione said. Then she sat next to Naruto and leans her head in his shoulder, and they waited. After a while, with Naruto mastering Sage Mode when he sensed everyone coming out of the tunnel, so he wakes Hermione who had fallen asleep on his shoulder and said, Hermione, wake up, we're coming out now. Hermione groaned awake and said, oh, that's good. Then they watched as they exited the tunnel and watched as the scene plays out. Then Hermione asked, so what was Sirius talking to you about? He was asking me to come live with him, Naruto replied. That's great, Hermione said. But I turned him down because my aunt had learned something that is making her regret her actions, Naruto said, then explained why. Well, I see why you turned him down. You do like to be there for those you care about, and Lily still loves your aunt, Hermione said. Then they see the moon was coming out and Remus started to transform. Then Naruto said, time to go. Then they headed to get a good view of the fight, and as Remus was about to attack Naruto, Hermione suddenly howled, making Naruto cover her mouth and asked, what are you doing? While the werewolf looked their way. Saving your life, Hermione said, forgetting about Naruto's other powers, then howled again. And as the werewolf headed their way, and Naruto said, and now he is heading our way. Yeah, looks like I didn't think this though. Run, Hermione said before she and Naruto ran away, and as they was running away the werewolf was gaining on them. Then they hid behind a tree. As Hermione and Naruto was hiding, the ninja sneakily pulled out a vial he had in his pocket and crushed it in his hand, and a green glow coated his hand and put the hand inside himself and moved it around, and after a while he pulled out of the sheep talisman and thinks, not the one I want. Then puts it back inside himself, and after a few more attempts he managed to pull out the snake and rabbit and placed them inside Hermione's pocket, then thinks, hope you don't need to use them. Then they heard a howl that seemed to be getting farther away, so they begins to move around the tree they was hiding behind. As the two moved around the tree they failed to notice a pair of moving eyes in the shadows watching them, which revealed to be Remus when they moved into the moonlight and stepped on a swig, snapping it, making the two-teen turn to face the werewolf, and as it was about to attack, Naruto grabbed Hermione by her jumper, and the ox appearing in his eyes tossed her away, then stood firm ready to attack the giant wolf. Then he said, if you want to attack someone then try me, and quicker. Then Naruto thought the werewolf attacked, going for the head, acting on instinct moved to the BTU. He was too slow as the wolf bit his forearm, making Naruto grunt at the pain. Then the ox appeared, then he spins around and flings the wolf away. Then as the wolf goes to attack again, Buckbeak gets in between then and attacks the werewolf, scaring him off. Then he said, thank you, Buckbeak. Then the horse appeared in his eyes and the bite mark healed, leaving no sign the bite was there. Hermione, who appeared next to Naruto, glared at her boyfriend and said, do not do that again, mister, and hands him the two talismans. Yes, dear, Naruto said as he takes the two magical stone and pulls out another file and pours it over a hand over and puts the two talismans back where they belong. Then the wind picked up and the air was getting cold. Then he said as he and Hermione looked to see Dementors flying, we have to go now. Then picking up Hermione, he with the rabbit appearing runs towards the lake. When they got to the lake they saw the Dementors arriving and beginning to circle them. Knowing what's about to happen, Naruto summons a single bat shadow con and sent it toward himself when he noticed the Dementor flying to the top and then down, only to intercept it. Then other Naruto summons more cons to fight the Dementors, only to accidentally get rid of them when he used the Patronus charm. Then Hermione asked, did you just get rid of the shadow cons? Naruto turns to look at Hermione then asks, how was I supposed to know the Patronus was going to do that to the shadow cons? Good point, Hermione said, then looks to the other Naruto and said, you're both dying. Yeah, turns out the dog and horse talismans mean nothing if the soul is pulled out the body, Naruto said. Then he looks back at Sirius and himself and saw the soul coming out of Sirius and then doing something that will get Hermione lecturing him later, decided to walk to the edge of the lake. Hermione, seeing Naruto walking towards the lake's edge, asked, what are you doing? Naruto said nothing and continues to walk. Then once he was there pulls out his wand and said expecto patronum and summoned a 10-tailed corporeal fox. Then a moment later sent out a pulse wave which sent the Dementors away, and when he sees the other Naruto out for the count he stops, then said to himself, so that's what it looked like from this end. Hermione then walks up behind him and said, they will be here soon, and with a nod from Naruto they walked away. Later Naruto and Hermione was on Buckbeak flying when Hermione asked, Naruto, what happened after you flung me away when Lupin attacked? Nothing. Naruto said. I know you're lying to me, Naruto, so what happened? Hermione demanded. Knowing what Hermione will do to get the truth, Naruto said, for you to get away I went to attack Lupin, but the wolf was faster than I thought and as I was a bit slow dodging and got bite. Hermione gasps at hearing this and said, oh Naruto, I am sorry. Naruto waves her off and said, don't worry about it, this is a good thing. How so? Hermione demanded. For two reasons. One, it might activate my dormant Kekkei Genkai and it will help me test something out, Naruto said. And what would that be? Hermione asked. Why werewolves are mindless beasts during the full moon? Naruto asked. Because they just are, Hermione said. But what if there is something inside their minds, something feral? Naruto said. Hermione opens her mouth to say something but then thinks about it, then said, you know, you might be right about that. Then she realizes what Naruto is going on about, then said, you're planning to use yourself as the test subject to see if that theory is true. That's right, but it won't be until the following day I will try and tame the beast, and if that is true then it might help werewolves around the world, Naruto said. You do like helping those that need it, don't you? Hermione said. Well, I know what it's like to be hated for something I have no control over, and there are innocent witches and wizards being called dark just because of something they didn't ask for, Naruto said, remembering his past. Hermione, knowing about Naruto's past, puts a hand on his shoulder and said, and it is because of that experience you know are the kind person that I and the others love you. And when the duo got to the tower where Sirius was being held, Hermione quickly head to the gate and said bombarda at the lock, which caused it to explode and the gate swung open. Then they helped Sirius onto Buckbeak, and while holding Hermione they flew away, Sirius on the hippogriff and Naruto using the rooster talisman. Once they were at a safe place, Sirius said, I'll be forever grateful for this to the both of you. No worries though, I think you should contact Amelia Bones, she knows you're innocent and I think she still loves you, Naruto said. Sirius looks shocked, then said, how do you know that? I am friends with her niece, and she said that you and her was an item before the whole thing, Naruto said. Next question, how does she know I am innocent? Sirius asked. Knowing the question was coming, Naruto did the cross sign, then said shadow clone jutsu, then a clone appeared next to Naruto, shocking Sirius. The clone then said henge and changed into Lily, and she said, hello Sirius. Sirius looks between Naruto and Lily, then said, nice try kid, I know she isn't really Lily. Lily smirks, then said, is that so? Then she walks up to Sirius, then whispers something, making Sirius's eye go wide. As Lily pulls away from Sirius, the man said, okay, you are real, how is this possible? That's a long story and we don't have time to tell as the kids have to be somewhere, Lily said, then in a thoughtful manner said, though I think we have told Amelia. Knowing what she was doing, Sirius said, this you trying to get me to get into contact with Amelia? I have no idea what you are on about, Lily said, acting innocent, then said, you better get going. Right, Sirius said before heading over to Buckbeak. Then he turns to Naruto and said, you know Naruto, you do have one thing in common with your father. And what would that be? Naruto asked. The same taste in woman, Sirius said. Then he turns to Hermione, then said, Hermione, you really are the brightest witch of your age. Then he rides off. Right now you two should get going, it's almost time, Lily said, B=4 disappearing. Hermione looks at the clock, then said, she is right Naruto, we need to go. Then both she and Naruto ran toward the infirmary. When they returned to the infirmary, they were met with Dumbledore, who said, well, what? Naruto asked. Good night, the headmaster asked as he walked down the stairs. Naruto and Hermione walked into the infirmary only for Ron to say, how did you get there? I was just talking to you there and now you're there. Whatever Poppy is giving you is making you see things, Ron. I mean, how can someone be in two places at once? Naruto said. Artoria walks up to them and whispers, you two are so telling me what really happened. Sure thing, Naruto whispered back. The next day, which was also the last day of the school year, arrived. Naruto walked into the Dada classroom to speak to Remus, and he saw the professor packing, and as he looked up he said, ah Naruto, I knew you was coming, and point to the map. Then he said, it looked worse. I can believe that, professor, Naruto said. So what happened while I was the beast? Remus said. Then Naruto begins to tell him what happened while leaving it, that he was bitten, and about his theory as he would need to explain why he doesn't need a test subject. Then Remus said, you're not asking me what I am doing. I don't need to, as I know you have resigned, as there is a rumor going around there you are a werewolf, and I know who it might be, Naruto said. Now don't try anything about it, Remus said. Wasn't going to, as I know that karma has a way of coming around, and if someone is petty enough to spill a secret that wasn't theirs to begins with, then something will come for them, Naruto said. You are a smart one, Remus said. Well, let's hope that someone think of something to help werewolves, Naruto said. Like there is someone out there what will help, Remus said. You never know, the world is a weird and magical place, Naruto said. Now ain't that the truth? Remus said. So how knows there might be someone out there who doesn't see magic or creatures as light and dark, Naruto said. You might be right there, Naruto, Remus said. Well, I hope to see you again, Professor, Naruto said before turning to leave. One moment, Naruto, Remus said, making the teen boy turn to look at him. Then he continued, seeing as I am no longer your professor, I see no reason for you not to have this back, then hands Naruto the map of Hogwarts. Thanks, Professor, Naruto said as he takes the map and walks out the room. The next day everyone was on the train heading home talking about their plans for summer when the train pulls into the station, and when Naruto went to meet his aunt, he was surprised to see she was alone, and he said, What, no, Vernon? No, I have thought about what you have told me last year long and hard and met with Zeno a few times, then realized that you were telling the truth, so I decided to divorce Vernon, Petunia said. That's great, Naruto said. And I was surprised that Lily owned the house we live in, Petunia said. Then she asked, So how was your year? And Naruto told her about his year, including getting bitten by Remus and what that mean. Then she asked, So does that mean that on the next full moon you will be a mindless beast? That remains to be seen, as I have a theory about something to do with the wolf's side, Naruto said. Then they headed home. 1 month later, it has been a month since Naruto returned, and at the night of a full moon, and Naruto was getting ready to leave when Petunia asked, Do you have everything? I do, and I will see you in the morning, Naruto said. Then he leaves. Once Naruto was at a good location for the transformation, and after a few hours with him securing himself with seals enhancing the rope he had, the moon was coming out, making Naruto transform, and Naruto too that moment to enter his mind. Inside Naruto Mindscape. When Naruto appeared inside his mind, he was standing in front of a cave that was located inside the forest that was around his mind, Konoha, and looking at the cave he sees a pair of crimson eyes looking right at him. Then he said, Looks like my theory about the beast inside the mindscape was true. Then he looks at the eyes, he said, So that should mean that if I beat your ass I should retain my mind on the next full moon. You think it will be that easy? A beastly voice said, coming from inside the cave, and then a giant fox walked out of the cave. Wouldn't be any fun if it was easy, Naruto said with a smile. Then the fox lunged at Naruto, but Naruto managed to dodge it with ease, then gave a swift punch to the fox's head. After a while, Naruto had managed to pin the fox with his foot on its neck. Then he said, Do you submit? I yield, the fox said. Then Naruto removed his foot and helped the fox up. Then it said, Why did you help me? Because you are me and I am you. You know why I help you, Naruto said. You're right, the fox said. Naruto was about to do something when he was suddenly surrounded by a white light, and when light died he was surrounded by a grassy field with a pleasant breeze. Then he sees several giant wolves playing with, and taller a giant androphobic she-wolf. Then she noticed Naruto and walked over and said, I see you're here, Naruto. I am Moro. You know me? Naruto asked. Of course I know all who has been under my grace, Moro said. So why have you called me here into your domain? Naruto asked. To thank you for being the first one to understand the test, Moro said. Naruto smiled, then said, So the mindless beast is just a test for what? To gain enhanced strength abilities of a wolf and to speak to them and to feel their mates when they are near, Moro said. Cool, sounds like the rewards are worth it, Naruto said. Then looks at Moro, then asks, So why come to me when I am a fox? While you are a were-fox, it was the bite of werewolf that awakened your wereform, Moro replied. I see. Well, when morning comes, I will help out the wolves that need it, Naruto said. Starting with your third year, Professor Remus Lupin, Moro said. That's right, there are innocent people being hated for something they have no control over, and I want to make it right, Naruto said. I can see why there is a prophecy about you, Moro said. What was that? Naruto asked. Nothing, Moro said. Naruto was about to say something when he suddenly begins to fade. Then he said, Looks like it's morning in the mortal world. Then he faded. That was close, almost spilled the beans about the prophecy about the one that brings the magical world and the normal world, Moro said. Mortal world. Naruto wakes up in the area, looks around and asks himself, Wonder if that was a dream. It wasn't, the gruff voice of the fox said. Naruto gasps in shock and asked, What are you doing here? This is the real form of a werewolf, or in your case a werfox, the fox said. Well, if this is normal for those that have conquered their wolf, then I guess I should give you a name, Naruto said. Then begins to think, then said, How about Shippo? The fox thinks about then asked, You would give me the option to decline the name if I don't like it. Of cases I said you are me and I am you, and I know I wouldn't like it if someone forces a name on me, so why would you be any different, Naruto said. The fox then thinks about it, then said, You're right and I like the name. Well then from today your name will be Shippo, Naruto said. Then he walks back to his home and thinks, Wonder if I can make a seal that can hold moonlight.